we're shooting, I'll have this laptop on the side, and we can just pull it up, and I can download it
What
to
you
her.
might need to pull up is that Missouri content for business and logic. Because I didn't even know what to do for an image for that. I was like, Missouri, should I put the state? Should I put, ticket sale or?
Let me I'll put it up real quick. Oh shit, yo, what's happening? We here, niggas. Where's your remote? Let's go ahead and put us on TV. Help our views out, man, like we always used to do. Give y'all niggas the secrets.
We got 2 views.
We got 2 views. 1 me and 1 you. What's happening, niggas? I told y'all we was gonna be back. It took us a minute, but we here. You dig?
It's worth the wait.
It is worth the wait. We got a banger of an episode for y'all niggas today. You know what I'm saying? So sorry for the wait, but I appreciate y'all for the patience. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Wayne fan, so sorry for the wait. You dig? Also, I'm a blank dealer, so we're always late. What is time?
We live together.
Oh, shout out Living. Yo, not real life. Living the Gimmick. Niggas tapped in with me when I was in Dallas. Niggas was trying to figure out where I was at in Dallas. Because niggas knew wherever I was at, it was there. You dig me? So, like, y'all know. Joint Water Ayatollah. Real life, nigga. So, I told y'all niggas that we was going to be here. Told y'all niggas that we was going to be getting busy. So, oh, shout out Living. Yo, not real life. Living the Gimmick. Niggas tap. Alright, so y'all know we live, we see us, so that means y'all see us, nigga. Stop trying to, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know how long we've been on live for, so I'm not sure if I said something incriminating if I did.
Nah, it's only 2 minutes. It's fine. YouTube will let us know. YouTube will let us know for sure, nigga. Alright, so I found that tweet. I'll read it out loud. I'll read it out loud for you. And then we can have our comment about business and logic. So let me go ahead and go YouTube studio content. We're gonna go to live. We're gonna take this video right here. We're gonna post that bitch on Twitter. Tell niggas to tap in. You dig me? All right. So thank you guys for pulling up. Y'all know. If y'all don't know, this is the last episode of Avenger Towers 2. You dig? So it's gonna be one hell of an episode.
Yeah, it's a season finale. I know we said the last episode season finale, but after WrestleMania, we had to come back.
We had to
tell y'all the tea or the news or the goings on of WrestleMania in Dallas. It was lit. It was
and
popping.
everybody gave that, everybody gave their
takes,
so
how they went down.
And
we're gonna give you ours, but we got so much more to give, so many more topics. And just wrestling is I always say this, but it's in a great place. I think that as wrestling fans, you cannot ask for any more from wrestling. So we definitely to be in Dallas and just have, look, you can just choose ROH, you can choose AEW, you can choose WWE, you can choose indie wrestling going on. It was awesome, and to link up with people also was dope. Granted, I didn't get to link up with everybody. I'm not as social as this guy over here. I'm not a social butterfly. Matter of fact, I have social anxiety.
I'm a peacock. You got to fly. You know what I'm saying?
That's his shtick. But it was cool to see some people that we support out there and doing the things they do and just enjoying the weekend.
It was amazing. It was amazing to just be. Listen, we talk so much shit about Twitter, and.
Gotta smell it. What strain is this?
I think we got Gorilla Glue.
I'm not gonna freak out on this.
So we
just don't give me a capsule because I will shut me down.
Yo, Dallas was a trip. I can tell you, it's a trip. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna start off the show with WrestleMania. All right, we're gonna give our WrestleMania review, just to let y'all niggas know. We gave everybody time, and we was there. We had to watch it on TV. WrestleMania Sunday was crazy for me, so I had to kind of catch up and shit like that. But y'all know the deal. Y'all follow us on all our socials. Y'all know what happened. So we're gonna start off with the week of WrestleMania recap. We're gonna go into the rest of that, and then we're gonna just flow. We got a jam-packed show. He got a hot take, a high take that he gotta get off. You know what I'm saying?
That, but it's a high
thought. We got Booking Black with your boy Omos. We gotta give a shout out to AEW for the consistency and the growth that they're showing with the young talent that they're developing. So we just want to give a shout out to them on that, and also get into the week that was, or the weeks that was. That's what you know what I'm saying.
So this is our last, like you said, last show.
Our last hurrah, last dragon.
Last dragon in this area. I will be moving out to New York, back to New York. I'm going back home.
Going back to.
Do you think about me now? I'm coming home again. Listen, if you guys are out in New York, definitely holler at me because all the rest of the space is out there. But last studio episode, we're going to be virtually from this point on, and our next episode will be on March 26th.
May 26th.
May, silly. I keep saying May. March. May 26th.
Our four-year anniversary. You know what I'm saying?
Check us out. And then obviously we have more content coming for you. We'll announce all that on our Twitter. Check us out on RW Podcast 1. We'll announce it on our Instagram.
And one time down again for Marie Shadows. I know we were supposed to get with you and drop the rest of that podcast life. That's all I can life.
And we will drop it. We
do. We have
over the next couple of weeks. I think that's what we should drop. Before our our season return. Yeah. Season's premiere.
So just keep giving those snippets and shit like that.
Yeah, Marie Shadows. It was a great interview.
Great.
You can check out. Is the whole thing up on the Patreon?
The whole thing can be available for our Patreon.
Yeah.
We can have and that'll be raw. That was the thing. I didn't know if you wanted me to put it up raw for our Patreon.
Raw for Patreon.
I bet. So we're gonna have our thank you for our Patreon. Again, shout out to Daily Smart, shout out to Twin, shout out to Rich.
And shout out to Marie.
Come on, you dig?
For having a great interview. So check her out, and we'll be posting that soon as well.
All right, man. You want to get into the show? We're gonna start.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank y'all, man. That was our little pre-show. We didn't feel like doing our start and stop shit. We're gonna get into the show right now. All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. Every time. All right. We're gonna redo that. 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Third time's a charm. Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's Ida Most High, and I'm with my tag team partner, CT, a.k.a. Chitty Bang.
And you are listening to the Underground of Press Wrestling Podcast, Reaper Wrestling Podcast. Check us out on RW Podcast 1 on Twitter. Sure. Check us out on Reaper Wrestling Podcast, IG, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast, podcasted or podcasted. Reaper Wrestling Podcast. Tune in, tap in, and, get high along with us. Shit.
Yo, and as he say, get high. This show is sponsored by Joint Roller Ayatollah Rolling Papers. You know what? Of course I got him. Of course Chidi got him too.
I got the whole box.
Woo!
Joint Roller Ayatollah. Listen.
You should get the whole box too, man.
Rolling papers with Nashville gum, baby. So, tap into EIWshop.com. Get a whole box.
Yo, you know
what? Get a whole box.
Get a couple packs, man. You know what I'm saying?
And you might want a cup of Everything is Wrestling t-shirt while you're at it. And official Stone 45 tee, which is one of our favorite drops. You know.
Yo, I had a high thought. Next year, WrestleMania weekend is going to be in LA. So Wale Mania, I don't know if y'all already started planning. I don't know if that's on your mind. One time down, shout out. I want to give a shout out to Wale. I know
Shout out to Wale.
I know Wale's going through a time right now. Hearts, blessings up to you and your friends and family for the loss. So I don't want to get right into it, but what I did want to talk about is that Wale Mania next year, LA, I think Smoke Dizzy should be included. I think we should have a smokers club section in LA. I think it should be like a weed expose. We should probably have some educational shit going on or whatever the case may be. I think that it should be weed educational friendly for those that's going to be in attendance, man. I think that would be a great little.
Yeah, invite your boys to the smokers.
That's the only reason. That's the reason why I said it.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I'm trying to get in between the velvet ropes. You know what I'm saying? So let's do something. I'll help. You know what I'm saying? We can really
organize something.
I think bringing Talking Terps with Juice and the boys out there,
Absolutely.
Bringing the Smokers Club, bringing vendors out there, and make it a thing. Listen, any place that Smoke This is in and that I'm in is smoke friendly. So let's just make it a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be dope.
I think Wale Mania, speaking of Wale Mania, that was the first night we were
Yes, it was.
there in Dallas. Wale Mania that Thursday. We pretty much, I dropped, you picked me up at the airport. We threw our bags down to Airbnb, went to Wale Mania. Great night. And I think of Wale Mania as something that could continue to grow.
Yes.
Kind of like a Rolling Loud, starting small.
Kind of like a Henny Palooza, like a Deuce Palooza, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I do believe in Wale Mania continually growing. It's just the atmosphere is different, and I do think that Wale should be huge. Just a huge thanks goes to Wale for just making it out there and putting on a performance and bringing the energy, because there were times where he wasn't out there, but he came back and he brought that energy. If you guys have not been to Wale Mania, please check it out next year. It's a good vibe.
Save your ducats.
Save your money.
It's going to be in LA, so it's going to be expensive.
For sure. But there's drinks, there's women, there's smoking. I mean, we were smoking. I'm not sure.
I don't know about y'all, nigga. We were smoking. Shit, I'm a smoker wherever the fuck.
And there's wrestling, and there's wrestlers, and there's giving honor and giving flowers to people in the wrestling industry. Just getting, seeing MVP and giving them his flowers. I think last time we were giving Booker T his flowers. Now we're giving MVP his flowers because he came out there and he kind of put on for a lot of black wrestlers over the past couple of years. So
I put on.
He put on for them for real.
I put on.
Miles was there. He had a little interaction with Wale. You can check it out on our Instagram. On stage, and it was just good energy, good vibe. You got to meet some of your favorite wrestlers if you were there. It was good energy. But yeah, it was a great start and kickoff to WrestleMania weekend. An amazing start.
It was amazing, man. And
Yeah.
shout out to again. He said it. It was a. We're trying to get away from the word vibe because it's kind of, but it was.
I use vibe every day, all day. Because that's the only way you can explain it sometimes. Energy is energy. It's a vibe.
It was great.
It was great.
It was great energy there. It was, first and foremost, like, y'all niggas know, Wale Mania, he gonna bring the black people. That's just number one. Number two, he gonna bring out the women. The fine women.
You got a little but so.
Hey, nigga.
Look it out.
Bro, he brought out joints that probably ain't watched wrestling since, nigga. Ricky
98.
Steamboat, nigga.
Oh, shit. You went back that far.
Bro, he brought
Since 83.
he brought bitches that kill. Them joints ain't seen a fucking square circle, nigga. But while they were there,
They were tight, though.
Nigga, bruh. And then Jay just like, cool, I'm just gonna take your steeds and just bring a traveling. I'm bringing back the train, is what Jay said.
Jay brought back the train for sure. Let's call it the Baddies train, okay? Let's not call it. Shout out to Jay Cargill, Queen Baddie,
The conductor.
the
Bruh, she is what the FCR say top guys? Nigga, she is Tippy
Top
top,
bitch.
nigga. Top, nigga.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so-
why she calls herself that bitch.
Nigga,
You know?
she could conduct that trade, dog.
Honestly, Jay's killing it right now.
Jay's killing it,
she's
man.
having a moment. Everything she's doing at AEW is great, but seeing her at live and in person,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
just
come on.
incredible.
And to think about it again, she wasn't on the radar last year, right? AEW, she's 30-0. She just premiered last year, right? She wouldn't have been on Wale Mania's card in town. But the consistency and the development that AEW has shown over time, not just with the hey, let's bring in top name, right? Like Wheeler Yuta, to people who don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like I work with Wheeler out MLW, like he's a new guy to some people, you know what I'm saying? Jade's a completely new person to the business. And to be there, to be a name, Omos, you know what I'm saying? And like you see the development of these.
You can see the future of what's to come.
Yes,
in wrestling.
exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And it's not just in Wally Media. I think that even across
that
the
weekend
board,
was crazy.
That weekend was crazy. Even with NXT, you know, it's a lot that you can see. Is like, okay, we're in a different space in wrestling where it's a lot of people got to prove, and you're starting to see the buddings of new stars across the board. You know, and
well, so shit. Since we here, let's just let niggas know we about to get into our WrestleMania weekend reasonable review, and we kind of started off by letting niggas know how Thursday night was with Wale Mania. Friday wasn't a WWE event per se, but it kind of got the weekend yapping for the coach.
And I'll show you how you did it. But you got weed in your beard.
Oh man,
I mean, apropos. But
so you know, we go to For the Culture. You know, sorry, Chidi, I gotta apologize. Public nigga time, not really nigga time, it's father time, because that nigga was caught up with his kids, making us late to everything that weekend, nigga. So we fucking finally get the For the Culture, and it's exactly what we thought it would be. You know, a whole bunch of niggas. You dig? It's just a whole bunch of niggas in a fucking sweaty ass high school gym, nigga. That's what it looked like. You know, and they were
good old high school gym wrestling.
Nigga, help me! This getting the vibes like a motherfucker, dog.
You know, For the Culture, I'm gonna be there every year because, you know, I do think that, like I said, new stars, new people.
Yep.
This is the infancy stage of Black wrestling and people getting a name for themselves.
Yep.
You know, Shane Taylor getting. You know, I'll preach his name on a pod every week if I have to. This guy's a starting to make it. If you don't think he's a star already, you know. You got Billy Dixon. You know, had a great death match. You know, on that.
A great death match with fucking Hoodfoot, who I think Hoodfoot can take a leap away from. I know he's making his name right now in death matches, right? But I think that the progression of who he is and the performer that he can be, I think he can be someone that can be menacing without the franticness of a death match. But what I do like about, again, we saw AJ Gray versus Darius Lockhart. We saw we came in at the tail end of Trisha Dora and Mickey Jenkins. I'm Mickey Jenkins. God damn. I'm drawing a blank of her first name. It's M. Jenkins.
MJ?
Yeah. I'm drawing up. I apologize, but y'all niggas know. I mean, come on, guys. You know, memory is not the best.
All in all, For the Culture was for the.
It was great. It was great.
The atmosphere was different than last year in Tampa. Tampa had an outdoor arena, and I thought that's perfect for culture. But hopefully, we get that in LA.
Hopefully,
they can find an outdoor spot, parking lot or something. And For the Culture.
Niggas in a parking lot.
No, a good ass parking lot.
The high school parking lot,
you
nigga.
know,
Fuck it.
and go out there under the freaking moon and sun and just like.
Yeah,
it was early actually. Wait, what time was it? For the Culture was because it was late.
For the Culture this year was like noon. I think it was.
Yeah.
Or it was noon or 3. Shit, man. Again. Yeah. So For the Culture was great.
It was during the day. And then so like the last year it was during, you know,
It was at night.
It was at night. It was at night.
For the
Definitely.
Culture last year was at night. Yeah.
And I felt like it felt different. You know, I feel like it was awesome.
Black niggas at night.
That's the kind of vibe I like. I'm a
Mhm.
night guy. You know, I know it's late. I know that you got kids and you might be like, listen, you gotta go
Nah,
to sleep.
nah. Last year I ain't had a kids, nigga. So I was around, nigga.
But in LA, I'll say for the culture, y'all can find an outdoor venue. That'll be dope. But hey, whatever works, I'm gonna be there. You know, and just to be there supporting, you know, indie wrestling, black indie wrestling. It was dope. And there were a lot of faces out there. A lot of people making shout out to the Black Guy Wrestling Podcast. We hung with them for a little bit. And shout out to everybody, Black Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to
Black
Lexus Littlefoot.
Yeah, Lexus out
You know,
there.
you know, honestly, all these people doing great things in the atmosphere or in the zeitgeist and the culture of wrestling and showing up. You know, I think that's can't go.
Because a lot of niggas be like, yo, what you doing? It's a lot of niggas doing shit. Like, period. It's a lot of niggas that's doing shit and trying to make it the best that it can. One time down for Tiger Driver as well, too. I know right now may not be the best of time. They're going through some things, personal and professionally. But we know for sure, one thing's for sure about them. They love the culture. They love the wrestling culture. They love black people. They love trans community. They love LGBTQ community. They are for the culture. And I love the support that a lot of people surround them with because they're needed. And that support around that person creates the tentacles that gives the other people fluidity to be like, hey, he's doing, I can do it. He's doing, I can do it type shit. So one time down for Tiger Driver, just wanted to let y'all know.
Tiger Driver for sure. But I'm just glad people show up, you know, and that's the thing. Like, it's easy
money
to
where
say,
the mouth is.
It's easy to say, yeah, I'm for the culture, yeah, you know, hashtag this, hashtag that, and then
Black wrestlers
not
draw.
show up,
Exactly.
yeah, and then not pay for it.
And niggas want a comp ticket. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
like, nah,
like
nigga, pay that fee.
Fee, show up and you know, and be there, you know. And honestly, it was a good show. So, you know, we got to see a bunch of people. Shout out to the Hitmakers too, you know, because they're making waves after leaving WWE, getting booked on that show. I think that, you know, find a way, you know, and they're doing it. And they're keeping themselves relevant as a stable that didn't get a chance, that they know they have something already, you know. From NXT, we saw the magic they had with Swerve. And then they should have made a lot of money on the WWE on the main roster, but to see them pivot now that they've been gone and not give up and keep the band together, I think it's special.
Moving on to Saturday, and speaking of comp tickets, NXT. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Because we didn't pay for that shit. You know what I'm saying?
But we were there.
NXT was not on our agenda. We had an itinerary. NXT was not. We felt like the card wasn't enough for our money.
Dolph Ziggler was in the main event, and he won. So I'm
glad we didn't spend our money for that. I would have been.
Yeah, but we came for our boy Dez, winning the tag team championships. Shout out to MSK. Shout out to Dez. But the night of NXT, it was good though. It started off with a great ladder match.
Great ladder
match. I got a Candice to Carmelo. Man, he's gonna be a star. He is already, you know, making waves online, and people are talking about him as if he's pretty much destined. And I see it, man. Shout out to Cameron Grimes, he won the ladder match, but there were some crazy ass spots. Austin Waller literally just jumped out through a table. Through a ladder. Austin Waller just jumped through a ladder in the middle of the match. He had a spot with Carmelo Hayes laying on the ladder. Carmelo Hayes pulled him off, and Austin hit the ladder flat out. Crazy spot. I'm sure you guys saw it, but I think that the ladder match, all in all, it was great. I've told you, Sanga is a star, and he had some moments in that match, broke apart the ladder. That was pretty cool. But yeah, Cameron Grimes pulled out the victory, and now he's going to be North American champion. Well deserved. He's been with NXT for a very, very long time, and I think it was due for him to get some gold, and he's been over, to be honest. So he deserves it.
Now, how is he gonna be as a champion? No.
He's gonna lose that belt fairly quickly. I would say because he's over. Yes, the catchphrase. He's a great. I think he's a good wrestler. But can he sustain it as like a fighting champion? I think somebody's gonna take it from him within the next couple of months, maybe the next 2 months. But I think that Cameron Grimes really should be a manager of an act on the main roster, and then get his spots as well. That's what I think he's going to be best at, because he's good at talking. He's really good at talking. He's really good at putting on his character. He knows his character, which I always respect. When a guy knows his character and he goes out there and does it over and over again, and it gets over, I fuck with it.
Well, you guys on the audio side of the podcast will not have a full show because technical difficulties. And it will not be a reasonable wrestling episode if we did not have a fucking technical difficulty.
But you didn't miss much. We just talked about Mania. It was a great time.
Yes.
Next year, go check it out. And we talk Florida Culture. Shout out to Florida Culture.
Yes.
So Florida Culture was also a great show. Next year in LA. Hope you guys show up and come out. But tap in. Yeah. Support Black wrestling. Other than that, we were on NXT. I just gave a little bit of a breakdown of the ladder match. But what do you have to say about that show? Because we were there live. It was a good environment.
I think honestly the biggest takeaway for me was MSK winning the tag team titles. I thought Creed Brothers was going to be crowned at Stand and Deliver. I thought they had the rub and the potential to kind of secure that victory and be crowned. I didn't think MSK needed it. I know a lot of people wanted it to give them another run.
I did.
You know what I'm saying?
I did, but I honestly wouldn't have been surprised if Creed won, because they've been really proven that they have what it takes to be a good tag team.
And again, surprising too. I'm sorry to cut you off. The following weeks after kind of has a little bit shocking as well, to kind of the flux of the tag team division of NXT. You wouldn't have that flux if you would have put the titles on the guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and if you wanted to bring up the Pretty Boys, you got an instant feud because they, you know what I'm saying? Because they attack them, and then they can attack them during a celebration victory, and then boom, you can just roll it out.
So we don't gotta talk about it, but there was some drama with Nash Carter, which caused NXT to have to pivot and put the titles in a gauntlet match this week. And a NXT UK team, Pretty Deadly, who I've seen them very few times.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when I talk about knowing your gimmick, knowing your character, these men know their gimmick, they know their character, and they're obnoxious. They remind me of Rick Martel. If you give me those Rick Martel vibes, you're doing something right, because Rick Martel know how to play a heel.
And Rick was good too.
Yeah. I hate what they're wearing, like the Pretty Deadly dudes, and I hated what Rick Martel would wear to the ring. I'm like, why are they wearing pink?
I love what they're wearing now, because again, that the whole gimmick of them is, we talked. Okay, so quick, we back and forth, but then we knew this show was going to be like this.
Yeah,
we had a conversation off camera, off topic about how can wrestling tell more inquisitive is the word that we want to use, or substantial stories of the LGBTQ community, rather than just giving us an androgynous character and having us kind of like wonder, or I think that, and I'll hear that.
I think when it comes down to telling more deeper stories to get over LGBTQ characters, and we can have a deeper conversation about that sometime. But I think that it's hard. But is it possible? I think we would have to talk to somebody who's part of the community, because you don't want to be offensive, and then
right.
And
therefore, I don't want to be offensive to the Pretty Deadly, because I do not know their sexual orientation. I do not know what the projection of what they're trying to present.
But we've had like Rapunzel, who's effeminate or shows
metrosexual,
flamboyant.
Yeah,
you know. We have
Velveteen Dream. We have Buff Bagwells or the American Males.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
We've had a lot.
Goldust,
Billy Chuck.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
Goldust, like you said.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things we've seen. But in this day and age, everything's so sensitive. Is it a possibility? Can you make a conversation happen with these LGBT characters and have them get over it within that and tell a substantial story? Honestly, I don't know. I think that you can. Like I was telling you on the phone, I was like, yo, Sonny Kiss, when he was tag teaming with Dustin Rhodes, he should have that should have been an angle.
She should have.
Huh?
She should have.
She should have. Oh,
yeah.
Excuse me. She should have. That should have been an angle. But that right there, even there's a lot of lost in translation,
ambiguity
when it comes to discussing the LGBT community. And I don't mean any disrespect when I say he or she. And I'm like, but you don't know until you see it on TV, or you don't know until you are faced with it. And is there, we have Nyla Rose. They don't talk about it at all.
Sonny and Nyla Rose can cut a promo a la what Lacey Evans just did on SmackDown and tell a story about their transformation, transition, transgressions, and be able to really ignite a genuine fan base behind it. I think that's missing when we are talking about telling
anybody to do something
that they're not comfortable. Yeah, of course.
So I think that goes into it too. But I do think there's a place for them to get over it. I think that with Goldust, what he did with Razor Ramon and Scott Hall, sold everything Goldust did that was making him feel kind of weird, like they'll do a move and then like touch his chest and then make him feel like, that's playing into homophobia. Granted, can you do that in today's era? I don't know, but maybe your people are too sensitive and they don't want to show that on TV. So, but it worked. Got over Goldust's character. Without Scott Hall, doing all that, would Goldust have worked? I don't know. But he had the wig, he had the makeup, but he also had Marlena, which was like, man, what is this guy all about?
But that also gives to why we talk about the Boy George, the David Bowie, the Princes, right? The niggas that look like bitches that would get your bitch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you don't really know what to do with that. But those, again, when you talk about, right, because that's a male sensibility. Male sensibilities can be, I can get with it, but I ain't with it. We talking about Sonny Kiss, who completely is using a different set of pronouns. We're talking about Nyla Rose. We're talking about things that are against the grain as far as having a very stimulating intellectual conversation around it.
And I know that wrestling is very surface, and I know sometimes kids watch it and all that. You don't want to, go too deep with a storyline, but I'm just talking about from the standpoint of getting them over as of characters, because you can like them just because of their wrestling ability, but I think what attaches people to wrestlers when you tell a story that is blending fiction and reality, like what they did with CM Punk and MJF, what Natalya did this week on NXT. When you can tell a story that's a little bit of blending, what happened in real life, because it comes from a real place, and it gives the performers the ability to potentially show more authenticity, but you can only do that when they're ready, so I wouldn't want to put that on any LGBT person or to do that, because if you want to do a gimmick of whatever your gimmick is, Nyla Rose, they call her the Beast, and if you just want to go out there and be the be the Beast, then go for it. That doesn't have to take into account your gender at all, but I think down the line, when
it's time for Nyla to make
when she's ready, or when anybody's ready, those can be a little bit of a standpoint to get people to really understand who you are. You know what I mean? And be a little bit deeper invested in who you are. But yeah, how did you get to that?
We were talking about Pretty Deadly, and the reason why that came up is because
I'm not sure.
Again, that's what I'm saying. But also that character in itself garners attention. It garners conversation. Yeah. Is you or ain't you, right? That character, surface level, is intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just said you hate what they wear.
Yeah, I've never seen that kind of.
That's what I'm saying.
On the male wrestler, but it pops. You remember it, and then I'm like seeing them. I'm like, they're gonna win this match. I already knew once we saw them. I was like, they gotta win this first tag team to debut and win the tag team titles. And I think that gives the Creed brothers something to fight for as well. You know, and a bona fide heel tag team.
We love a baby chasing.
We love a baby chasing the tag titles, and I think Pretty Deadly's a perfect heel team to. They made the right decision on NXT, pretty much.
And speaking of that, considering the situation. So, and we're wrapping to kind of balance out the rest of NXT's card and what happened with NXT of the week. Dolph won, Dolph lost. That means Braun lost and Braun won. You know, so I don't know how that thing went. And
I'm glad we left. Kevin, we left after this match. We left, and if I was gonna sit there and watch Dolph win
clean,
only
for him to lose.
I'm not gonna even get into it.
Okay,
I'll be a rant. I'm not trying to be positive, you know, trying to be cool. But shout out to Braun Breaker, new NXT champion, two-time NXT champion. He had a great banger of a match with Walter the following week on NXT.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, I wanted that to be the match at TakeOver. And then
that banger match would have been a banger. It would have been.
I would have stayed the whole time. I would have
fucking nigga what? Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
I would have fucking stayed, nigga.
Listen, no hate to Dolph. He's a great worker, but that's not what I want personally on TakeOver. So, but then we got to see Walter on the show on NXT, and now he's called up to SmackDown. But before we get to SmackDown and all that happened this week, let's talk about what's on the screen, which we haven't even gotten into. Really, the big granddaddy of
the reason why
all the money
fucking body was in Dallas, you bitch ass niggas. It wasn't fucking wrestling weekend, motherfucker. It was WrestleMania weekend, bitch. All y'all punk ass, pussy ass niggas, I got something to say about Big Dick Vince. Cause the nigga dick is big, nigga. And I'm not saying it because I know. I'm just saying it because that's how he act. He act like he got the biggest dick energy in the world. You know why? 2 nights. WrestleMania, Dallas, Jerry World. Over 70,000 people back-to-back nights. Come on, man. Nigga, come on, man. Come on. All of those fucking indie shows put together wasn't a night at WrestleMania. All weekend.
That's not even worth being said. I
mean,
you know that.
But I'm just saying. That's what I just want niggas. I just want niggas to know why y'all got on the plane. I want niggas to know why y'all motherfucking drove down. I want niggas to stop fucking acting like it a WrestleMania weekend, nigga. You called off your work for Mania weekend, nigga. Mania. That's Vince shit. Vince shit. Most of y'all niggas I only came out while they made it ROH and I went home on Saturday. What you do Saturday night? What you do Sunday night? You watched? Nigga?
Listen, it's a big time for wrestling. It's always going to be a big weekend for wrestling.
The biggest weekend,
Shout out to Vince for making WrestleMania. Let's bow down to him.
Thank you.
Once again.
Thank you.
Over and over again.
Thank you.
But I appreciate it. Even though this is the 38th WrestleMania, and I believe that my big takeaway with it is that we're going to see a lot more celebrities on WrestleMania. And it's not a bad thing because every celebrity match was actually pretty damn good. You know? But for me, I do think I see a change in this year's WrestleMania from where WrestleMania used to be, because we had 3 celebrities come in there and actually perform well. Bad Bunny ruined it for everybody who likes professional wrestling. I'm just going to say it right now. Bad Bunny came in there, stole the show last year. And from this point forward, they're going to try to pick up any act that can have can actually maybe work a match in wrestling and do well.
Not even just anybody can work a match. If you got a punchable face, if you like legit famous and can just bring a new set of 2 eyeballs, which that's what the purpose of those things are, right? I don't know if it was 10,000 people, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. Those are times 2 with eyeballs that came to that product because of a celebrity. And you can't be mad at that. The exposure of the business happens because the celebrities come through. You can't be mad at that.
I think that it worked. I think the spectacle of WrestleMania. Wow, we get to have celebrities in a wrestling match. Now that's what's gonna. And we have one big main event. That's the priority. It's gonna be one big main event, and now you get to see your pop culture figures come and do what we do. And is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? I don't know. You guys tell me, because this is very subjective. Some people loved every celebrity match, and I gotta say, I didn't hate them myself. I didn't want to see Mr. Johnny Knoxville go out there and have a match with Sami Zayn. But when they bring the whole Jackass cast and they do all those bits and spots, I'm like, all right, I can't not like this. Like, I can't not.
Or when Logan Paul hits the Three Amigos.
Yeah, but he's a heel, and he's a real life heel. So if they can pull Conor McGregor next year, they'll do it. And he'll go in there and do something heelish too. But I believe that it gets more publicity. I don't think that it brings more eyes saying that I'm gonna buy a ticket to WrestleMania. I don't think the people that are in the arena, I think it's pro WWE. I don't think they're coming there because of WWE. I think that what's happening is when you go to the network or go to Peacock, people might say, "Oh my God, Logan Paul's wrestling. My kid loves him. Let me get Peacock."
And that matters.
Yeah, it does.
But
it
does.
Jackass is there.
Yeah.
Let me get Peacock.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening.
Not necessarily. The ticket sales don't necessarily equate. YouTube numbers matter. Metrics in general.
Yeah, just numbers on social media hits. All that is just brings your notoriety. We're in the information age, so we can just clout.
And
man.
I think
they just bring clout.
But I think we've had this conversation before. You said it's the 38th WrestleMania. Number one, the first WrestleMania had Mr. T in the main event with Hulk Hogan, Paul Orndorff, and Mr. Wonderful, and Roddy Piper, right?
But no one's who's a wrestling fan is like, that was a great match. And that's what my argument was. It's like, and I know that's not the place where I should come to get it. Maybe WrestleMania is not the place where I should come for my favorite wrestling match to be on the stage.
But I don't think it's never been that. I'm sorry.
I think that I always had a Bret Piper or a Steamboat Macho Man Randy Savage. I've always had a match, or even a Shawn Michaels Bret. And I think that's what I liken to my type of wrestling.
But you got that.
So I got that with AJ and AJ and
I think that's
as far as a match.
I think that's the balance.
We already talked about the storyline going into it. I'm talking about the effort you put into for our fan base.
The match of the night, the match of the weekend was Becky and Bianca, and it came because of the storyline, the performances, and everything involved with it. You got exactly what you asked for as far as wrestling, as far as the storyline to get you there.
Cheers to Bianca and Becky. You guys did it again. Cheers to y'all. You're right. I got that with that. But when it comes down to the rest of the card, I think that we're moving towards an era where they're prioritizing the numbers, and I don't think that was always been that. I would get at least, back in the day, I would get at least 3 matches where I'm like, man, I would go back and rewatch those matches just because they were interesting and they're that good. I haven't gone back and watched WrestleMania. I will go back. I watched night 2 because we weren't there night 2, but we're not there night 1, and we were there live for Becky and Bianca. They stole the show. And then you had Austin, which also was a huge.
Night 1 has the match, that's my argument, and that's why I think me and you spend the most time right here on this subject, having the back and forth of our subjective opinions, because we can have selective memory and remember, like you say, a Bret Pipe. But what WrestleMania was that?
That was 9.
Okay.
I also got Macho Man and Ric Flair on the same card. I also got Undertaker and Jake the Snake, which was actually pretty good. I also got Shawn Michaels and Tito Santana. And these matches were people who were growing in their arc as you went. And I think that a Damian Priest WrestleMania moment shouldn't be him just standing outside the ring after being U.S. champion for the majority of last year. That's my argument, is that Finn Balor should have a problem in his face. And this is just my argument. You know, I think that Johnny Knoxville, Logan Paul, and even Pat McAfee to a lesser extent take those people's spots. And that's what we're going to see more often at WrestleMania. Now, they might get a WrestleMania Backlash match, but is it the same thing? That's what I'm saying.
Well, and my thing is that here we go. We're talking about the Super Bowl of wrestling. You dig me? Like, a lot of people didn't want to see the Bengals in the motherfucking Super Bowl, but you can't book that shit. They tried. But you talking about the Super Bowl. We got LA Rams, and they can literally just like, please give me any fucking body else but the Bengals. And I get you with that. Give me anybody else but Logan Paul. Give me anything else but another celebrity match. But when they're good.
No, absolutely.
It's really hard.
You can't knock the Bengals because they're a good tag team. I can't knock Logan Paul when he comes out there and he puts on a performance. I can't knock Johnny Knoxville when he comes out there and brings a big ass smacking hand. You know, I can't knock him when he does that. You know, and obviously.
And I know we're picking on recency bias, but I think even last year with just Bad Bunny, they didn't have a lot of celebrity.
I appreciate that though. It was actually a good show. And I you know, there was multiple things I took away from that match. I like last year's WrestleMania, me personally. Overall, it's just different feels I get from this last year. Last year, I got some matches that had meaning and purpose, and I thought that Roman stamped himself as the main guy. I thought that Bianca Belair stamped herself as the next, you know, woman who's it in wrestling. I think those moments matter to me. This year, it was more like, man, it's wrestling, have fun. You know, it's like, it's wrestling.
How you just name those two people, and those two people, this WrestleMania capped off their stories from last year. Those two, and those are random. This is random. Me and him haven't talked about this at all. This is straight freestyle. He just picked two random people from last year who had stories that continued their story and their arc into this WrestleMania. Roman Reigns got his biggest win to date at WrestleMania. Bianca got her biggest win to date at WrestleMania. And that happened with celebrities also.
I think that we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about Bad Bunny is one act, you know, and I'm going to be honest with you. Bianca and Becky is great. It wasn't greater than Sasha and Bianca to me. It was great though. And then that doesn't take any more from the greatness. Also, Roman, that's not an argument. To me, Bryan Danielson, Edge, and Roman beats that match with Brock Lesnar by a mile. Lapse it completely. So I think that when I come to match quality and the build up to the match and then what it delivered to me as a wrestling fan, I think this WrestleMania I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's a different vibe. It's a different, and I'm going to keep using that word. It's a different feeling when I was there, and being there live too was awesome. But this was more like, man, we got Austin back. Oh, we got to see Jackass have fun in the ring. It was entertaining. It was more entertaining. Logan Paul, he actually performed well. You know, we got Vince McMahon. You know, it was hilarious seeing Vince McMahon come out there and kick Pat McAfee's ass. I thought it was one of the
after he had one of the most grueling matches on the fucking card. But I think also to what you're talking about though, and like you said, you started off by saying it's only going to quote unquote get worse or it's only going to get better. Next year we're in LA. Next year they're already projecting Rock and Roman, right? Like next year is gonna listen.
You know, LA, they're gonna bring in freaking Reba McEntire to have a match. they're gonna bring in no. What they're gonna do is they're gonna try to get Cardi B. If she's not, you know, pregnant.
Shit. And if it's up, it's stuck, nigga.
They're gonna get Conor McGregor,
nigga. And that's gonna be the big. Listen,
they're
topping it every.
Kim Kardashian back.
And that's what I'm saying. Bad Bunny's the biggest artist, period, in any genre. So you get him the WrestleMania, that's great. You got Logan Paul, who's the most divisive person on social media. We're talking about hits and metrics and stuff like that. That's a hit. We're talking about nostalgic aspect of Jackass, bringing in Stone Cold Steve Austin, the highlight of the 90s or 2000s. That's it. They give you pieces of everything for everybody. Like you said,
it's a pop culture show now. That's what I mean. A wrestling show versus pop culture show.
But wrestling is pop culture.
Wrestling is pop culture. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm talking about Finn Balor, for instance. The way they can use a character like him to have a WrestleMania moment, those are people that are going to miss out on these things moving forward. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying what you can expect is more celebrities if it works, and it worked.
But
I'm not saying it's a bad
but
thing.
we always
saying
call
that
off seasons though.
having
We also talk about everybody can't have you can have everybody have a moment, but everybody can't have a moment.
Not every single year. No, absolutely. But I'm saying like this. The more this happens, the less that happens. That's what I mean. The more celebrities are there, the less we have organic wrestlers having WrestleMania moments and building their storyline and building their story. I mean, Bianca and Roman are two of the top stars who are probably getting paid higher than most of the people there because they know what they got in them. And they're investing a lot in them. We see what they're doing with those two guys. I'm not talking about that when I say, the people who are missing out or like what's going on in the future of wrestling. I'm saying that last year they took those two characters and it paid off with the storyline they were telling. I think last year mattered more for both of those characters than this year. However,
who do you see that happen for this year? I'm sorry. Who do you see that happen for this year?
I think that they should have. It would have been Big E, but they wasn't even going that route with him. It could have been Big E. He shouldn't have gotten injured. He should have been on SmackDown. But if you structure it a certain way, there should be people. Bobby, I think did great. Drew, there's a lot of people.
Bobby and Drew did last year.
I think Sammy got a moment, which is great. Obviously, Sammy got a moment. Yep. But there's other people that missed out this year, and hopefully they get next year. But there's never a guarantee. And that's what I'm saying with the celebrity thing. It's just a give and a take. It is the way it is. When Roman faces Rock next year, if it happens, there's nobody else that's going to get that WrestleMania main event match. It's going to the Hollywood star.
They might cut night short, so it ain't a main event. The only main event is going to be Rock and Roman.
And that's just the business right now. So when you get into the business, you're like, man, I want a WrestleMania moment. You got to really make yourself a social media star. You really got to make yourself more than just a wrestler, and they're looking for superstars.
But that goes to a great point. Wrestling ain't just wrestling. I ain't coming to motherfucking see niggas. I ain't, right? I ain't just coming to see a clinic because clinics are available. Nigga, walk the corners to CVS, Walgreens, clinics everywhere, nigga. You go to spectacles to see a spectacle. You only go to a hospital for a reason, nigga. You go to a clinic all across. You go to a hospital for a specific reason. We're going to WrestleMania, and I think from 1 to 38, you've seen it, right? 1 to 38, you've seen it. And you mentioned WrestleMania 9, was a great card.
It wasn't. A lot of people will tell you that WrestleMania 9 was one of the worst WrestleManias, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm just one person. Like, that's my take on WrestleMania, and I still had a good time. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing. I still had a good time. It's just a different feeling for me. But I do want that moment where like Bianca and Belair. I don't think I had that moment this year with what we had last year with Bianca.
Well, it's hard to. It's always hard.
You can't
organically make history all the time.
You can't.
That was
you
a
can't manufacture that.
Yes,
unless you manufacture that.
Well, I can understand that, but we talk about some of the things that happen organically that they have to manufacture. Kofi, they have to manufacture that because it's organic. Daniel Bryan, you have to manufacture that.
I guess it's Cody, if you want to say that.
Again, that's what I'm saying. So things happen for reasons within the reason of things happening. Mm-hmm. So again, we're talking about, like you said, you're just one person. I'm one person with one podcast. Other people, you know what I'm saying? But I do believe that making it 2 nights also gives them the ability to, like you say, they're not supposed to miss the mark of not having a U.S. champion and an Intercontinental champion not on WrestleMania. You can't do that. It's inexcusable for you to do that.
Yeah.
That I think I'm not going to argue that, but I do feel like that. Hey, we got to bring these niggas back. We got to bring these niggas in.
That's why I say you're gonna be doing that. Unify the titles. You guys have too many titles, which I'm glad we're starting to see that they're taking my advice and they're doing it. Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar. It's the biggest win of his career. He is now the Universal WWE Champion, the undisputed Universal WWE Champion. And now he set a hit out on RK Bro.
Yes, he did.
And he told the Usos, I want those tag team championships with the Bloodline, which is what I fucking wanted in the first place. And this is what I'm saying. When you see the structure of how WWE builds their company, and you see the talent they have on the roster, and then you see all the titles they have, and it's a stacked roster, and then they'll bring celebrities for WrestleMania, what do these titles mean? Nothing. They're just to say, hey, hold something for now.
I've been told you about that consolation prizes, though.
But it does. But it feels a lot different when you're in the main event in a WrestleMania and having a tag team title match on WrestleMania than when you are on SmackDown in a Battle Royal. You know what I mean? Or you're on Intercontinental Champion is Ricochet. And we don't know, and he didn't do anything. So it's a thing where it's a lot different when they treat you as a jobber or an act while you're holding the title. So you might as well just unify all the titles. Tag team championship, the women's tag team championship, it's already fine. You don't need to do nothing with that. Unify the United States Intercontinental Championship, and just have at least one person. So the best mid-card guy holds that belt, who has the best matches, who can put on a clinic on WrestleMania to start the show or middle of the show. And that's what I'm thinking it should happen moving forward. And maybe start the tag division being unified is the start of that. Because I'm telling you, there's not enough tag teams for them to have a really good tag division in WWE. So I'm glad they're doing that.
With that being said, we can roll into the week that was of WrestleMania that happened, because we had a lot of things to follow up, right? At the WrestleMania after, I'm sorry, the Raw after WrestleMania, Cody makes his debut. He sets the mark for what he wants to do on the bump. That following Wednesday, or I'm sorry, that following Monday, cuts a promo saying that he wants to have WrestleMania.
So let me ask you, because we were talking in the car.
Correct.
While the freaking Nikon was sliding all over the dashboard, and he was like, "Hey, why did Cody come back?" And he's having a whole fit about how
he didn't say what he said. He didn't. Yep.
Go ahead.
The energy, the vibe that I put out. I told, and we got behind the scenes. That's shouts out Patreon. We got that. That's something that y'all should have had day of. When we did that, we got that. I said in the car, I was upset because Cody premise of coming back was not clear from the simple fact that he didn't say what he said on Monday until Monday. But I'm fine with it because he said it. It came out his mouth the way I wanted and needed for it to come out, for me to kind of sink myself into why he came back. And he said, my daddy had that belt. My daddy had that belt before that belt is the belt that y'all niggas think is the belt. No, my daddy had that belt. My daddy was the man before any of you niggas was the man.
Not only did he have that belt, but he got robbed of it. He really didn't. It was a finish. That's why they call it a dusty finish. He won the match and then they took it back, and then he didn't really on the record become champion. So, and this is why I fuck with Cody, and this is why I'm a fan of him. And maybe it's biased, is because we have similar stories, man. Losing your pops, who you can't probably live up to that nigga because he's such a great figure, and then having to say, all right, how do I live in his honor when he's gone? And you can't necessarily talk to him in physical, but you got to make sure that you still fulfill your purpose here while you're living and doing your thing. I would like to shake Cody's hand one day because against all odds, he left the WWE after his father passed and said, I'm not doing this Stardust shit. Had to pride himself to say, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like this is my path. And he walked away. He went and started the American Nightmare, got a crazy ass tattoo on his neck. I got a crazy ass tattoo on my neck. Shit. And I respect it. Against what anybody thinks he's crazy or whatever it is, he's walking his way and he's calling his own shots his way. Now, he said, I'm going to go out to New Japan with Young Bucks and, work out there, go work with some of the best wrestlers in the world, made a whole list. And he did it. And then when it came to time to say, all right, where do we go next? How do I change my game and at the right time do something new, keep us interesting? He starts AEW along with Tony Khan, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, and enters in a new era of wrestling that we have today. And then when he starts to get stale in AEW and things are not feeling right, he follows his gut. He doesn't just stick there. And against all odds and how it may look after he's just broke down the throne and did everything and talked shit about WWE for 3 years, 6 years, damn near. Let's fuck it. You know what? What's inside of my heart and what's inside of my soul, I'm chasing that. And that is to go win the championship my father never won, that they stole from him. And he went out there and told that story.
That they fucking stole.
That they stole from him. And he went out there, cut that promo. And in that moment, I saw Cody as, you arrived. You are who you think you are. I never really thought he was that nigga until that promo. And I thought, and I mean, I've been a big fan, but being the star of like a WWE main event star, that promo did it. Because at this point, he has a valid fight from his journey from today to whenever he becomes WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. And that's going to mean the world to him, his family, his legacy, and that's all that really matters for him.
And that means the world to me. Shout out to Kendrick having an untitled track, so maybe you can't sue me for that.
I think Cody right now has stepped into a new stratosphere again, and this time it's for real. You know,
I think for the most part, I agree with you. And the reason why I say for the most part is because
people were, before I say that, before you continue, people were saying that when he came back, he'll be a mid card in 2 weeks. It's not happening, guys. Cody's one of the top 8 faces in the company.
And when does this wear off?
I don't think it wears up anytime soon because he has a substantive.
But it did in AEW
because he didn't tell that promo. He didn't have that in AEW.
He did because he was the revolutionist.
No, he didn't. I'm telling you, it's different when it's something that's substantive. Directly through your path, he knows who he is. He's coming there for a specific purpose. He cut that promo the first day. So until he gets that championship, he's gonna be in chase, and we want to see it just as bad as he wants it.
He cut a similar promo when he started AEW, the company of being.
They don't have the title that his dad wanted.
That's true.
That's what I mean. It brought it full circle. You're talking about synchronicity and making the storyline make sense. What Cody, when he came in there, made sense. What Cody done in AEW was tell a lot of stories about his dad and kind of connect. But it's like we always looked at him like, yeah, you really ain't that, dog. You know, like, you know, yeah, we feel you, but
how was he that?
But you also are EVP. So you always had that EVP thing in AEW. You know, it was like, you know, you're EVP too. So if you became champion, it don't mean nothing because you're a boss. You know, you're a part of the administration.
You're a shot caller.
You know, so. That's the difference with him being WWE. And you said he wasn't calling a shot by going to WWE because now he got a boss again. No, he's calling his own personal shot, no matter how it looks. Listen, I'm going back to New York. It may not look like I'm calling my shots, but I'm calling my shots for something that's deeper than what I'm trying to accomplish in life. You know, and it's reasons behind what he's doing. And it may not look pretty to everybody else.
That's true.
But that's what I associate what Cody is doing today. And because of that, when you're walking in your purpose like that, and that bold, yo, he knows who he is. And even the promo with the Miz, he feels more comfortable on the mic. I see a different, more polished, grown man when I see him now than the boy he was when he was started.
Now we're talking about seasons. We got a new season coming up May 26th. The new season of wrestling started after WrestleMania. We're talking about the Raw after WrestleMania. We're talking about the SmackDowns after WrestleMania. They have been good shows.
They have.
They have been really good shows.
They haven't really slowed down except for the Raw Mania.
Yeah.
I think the Cody thing got me there, and you know, and I think that
Cody saved Monday Night Raw.
He did, and then also, I mean, me personally, I like the Omos, and MVP angle with Bobby.
Since we here, we might as well go to Book and Black, dog. Hold on, let me hit the horn one more time.
Omos. Let me give
Omos an MVP to solo real quick.
Yeah. I think that this is gonna be dope. I think this is the perfect move for MVP to be the mouthpiece for the giant Omos. Man, this dude is huge. I think that when it comes to this, just like he took Bobby to the championship, this could be what he does for Omos as well, as far as teaching him the ropes of being a singles competitor, a single star that can get over. And with him and Bobby, I think that it's a perfect matchup. It's a match made in heaven because they had the match at WrestleMania. Bobby got the victory, Omos first loss. Bobby kept his strength, but now he's coming back to get his revenge.
It's revenge.
You know, and I think
Bobby's
that
revenge.
when you have that match of Omos versus Bobby, you really can't tell who's going to win. Going into WrestleMania, I didn't know who was going to win. And I think that when you have two, look at them, they're giant men. They're giant, both of them, they're massive human beings.
Yo, Omos made Bobby look like me out there, nigga. You feel me?
Nah, but this is how you put a big man over. This is how you get a big man to take the next leap. You put him in the same ring with a main eventer that's a bona fide champion, that's been a bona fide champion, former two-time WWE champion.
Yep.
Bobby Lashley.
However, United States champion.
United States, all that. ECW champion. But the next time around, Omos got to take the victory, man.
Oh, yeah.
Omos got to get the W.
Yeah, WrestleMania Backlash.
Omos got to get that victory. And, yeah.
We know the vibes.
Yeah, we know.
We know the vibes. You know what I'm saying?
I think that I don't mind seeing him back in the ring with AJ or, you know, Seth. I think Seth needs to turn baby at this point.
You think?
I do think
he's having some of his best character work now as a heel, though. Baby.
There's only so many times you can laugh and dance down the ring. And so it's like, okay, and lose a match.
Whoa,
yeah. I mean, we were lit at WrestleMania. We had it. It was dope, you know? But I believe there's only so many times you can do that until you have to change your gimmick up, especially when you have people like Cody coming in. Omos is getting his spot now. I think Seth and Omos would be David versus Goliath. And I think that'd be a great, you know, match for Money in the Bank or WrestleMania or SummerSlam coming down the line. Basically, what I'm saying is Omos needs victories over main event talent right now, and it starts with Bobby, unfortunately.
Nah, I think Omos wins the United States Championship. He takes it from Finn. I mean, that's MVP is the greatest United States champion of all time. All time. We talking WCW, talk about WWE.
Omos, though, just go after the big dog. Like, that's the thing. It's Omos versus Roman is
for him to lose.
He will have to until he wins again. Like, until he gets over his act. Because honestly, Omos is just popular because he's big. That's really, I think that's his thing. When Omos gets more character, that's when he can take that title and really bring something to the show.
Well,
you know?
The thing about so to piggyback off of it, your booking block said he needs to be against main event talent. Seth Rollins is a main event talent, but he's a mid card. Because if Seth Rollins,
upper mid card,
listen, Seth had his moment in the Sun against Roman, and yes, if Seth turns baby, Seth and Roman can go. You feel me? But we ultimately know it's only going to be about the story with the challengers, with Roman. We know he's breaking whatever fucking record they can have him break with that championship. We know this. We know Roman's going to be champion from this WrestleMania to next WrestleMania, and that's going to be 3 straight WrestleManias as him as champion.
That'd be crazy in this era.
We know this. 365 times 3. Just go ahead and do that math, and that's however long that nigga gonna be champion.
Man.
So
I don't know.
It don't matter, and that's why I said Omos. You can't say you can like even Cody. Cody can have again. Cody can be the guy to topple Roman after he loses the first time. Cody can take this Omos role. Cody can try gimmick. And Roman can be like, come on, Island Rebels, I'll bring you to the Island Rebels, and I'll treat your father how they treated my father, nigga. I'm gonna treat you how they treated my father.
If Roman gets to talking shit about Brandy and his daughter,
no, I ain't with all that, nigga. I ain't with all that, because we ain't finna bring no wife in, nigga.
I mean, if Rhodes talking about dynasty family, this is Rhodes versus the Anoa'i.
Yeah, we ain't gotta do no kids, nigga, because
not the kid.
Ain't that Brandy ain't. Listen, this is YouTube.
Not the kid.
But if he can talk shit about the Rhodes family and say they jelly ain't shit, because they ain't. It's just your daddy, your androgynous ass brother, and you, the little brother. Pussy niggas. That's what my nigga Roman should say. I'm with that.
That's what I mean.
I'm
not saying
definitely
talk
with
shit
that.
about the baby. I'm saying that when it comes to saying, listen, you guys and your family lineage is not mine. You know, and that's pretty much a story I would tell. But this is booking Black Omos. I do think Omos is a future WWE champion.
He's a future WWE champion,
I
but
think
his future will be. You just said. A lot of people think Austin Theory is going to topple Finn. I think Finn's going to get his comeuppance. Austin Theory will be able to move around and we be able to. Austin Theory and Ricochet really should be the feud, honestly. Both two non-charisma having ass motherfuckers. That should be the feud. Just go ahead and have bangers and no talking.
No,
over there,
I think Austin Theory has charisma, but he's just like he's a heel. He needs to talk more and talk more. He needs something to talk about, and that's a championship. And once he has a championship, taking picture with that, that's it. You know, he lost to Pat McAfee. He loses all the time. You can't talk, take pictures, and lose all the time. He needs a big win,
beating Finn ass.
big victory.
Shit.
What's with that? I don't get it.
I don't understand it.
But with Omos, what I see him at, he can't beat Austin Theory for the championship. He gotta beat Finn.
Yes, absolutely.
And that means that Austin gotta take a back seat and go out to Ricochet. But booking Black, if I'm having it my way,
yes,
I would book him in matches against the Seth Rollins, the AJ Styles again, having Randy Orton, take Randy Orton out at SummerSlam, and then say, "Yo, Roman, I'm coming after you."
That would be fire.
And I would have Roman come after him. He can come after Roman for like maybe a Hell in a Cell match or something, and that would be crazy if he didn't win the Hell in a Cell match, but he had a great Hell in a Cell match with Roman. That's why I'm booking with Omos.
Good shit, man. I'll rock with that. I want to see Omos in a cage. I'm saying.
So who's the baby?
That's what I'm saying.
Turn Omos baby right now.
How you turn him baby, man? That's what I'm saying. He's right now.
He's
literally one of the biggest heel in the business. And he got MVP. He's the best mouthpiece in the business. I know Paul.
Outside MJF.
Nigga, what?
I'm telling you right now. He's the best mic in the business. Who's better than MJF? I'm biased and real right now. MJF is talking that shit. And every time he has a mic, that something new comes out, and it's always gold. That's my subjective opinion, and I get it. He's not black, but he's killing it right now.
He's killing it, and he can be second. Listen, and even I'm being stupid by saying Paulie is not the best talker in the game. But conviction, wrestling-wise, like, I mean, what am I talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, the absolute best talker is Paulie. But I'm as far as like MVP cut a promo against Bobby this past Monday. Passionate, real
MVP,
life, real spit.
We all know.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. With him and Omos is a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
He's gonna be able to take Omos to the next level.
Yep.
Just like he did with Bobby.
Yep.
And I'm just excited to see it happen. I saw him at Well
Do you think they reformed the Hurt Business with Cedric and Shelton? And have Omos?
I got my shirt. And it's just every time I see it, I'm like, man, what could have been? Because this is really like they made it happen though. And what we got with her
a unified championship match between Bobby and Roman, and a unified championship match between Shelton and Cedric.
It was the Bloodline versus the Hurt Business. Oh my god! Survivor Series would have been crazy.
Survivor, nigga, fuck Survivor right now.
Right now, it's not
no, that's what I'm saying. If they had Bobby, strong champion, beat Brock, get rid of Brock. Or they just had a triple threat of Brock, Roman, Bobby at Mania. The biggest unification, literally the biggest match in WrestleMania history for the unification title. And then once whoever loses, let's say Roman wins and Bobby loses, and Roman's like, I want you to go take that fucking titles over there too. And then boom, have it, and then that's when you break up the Hurt Business or whatever.
It would have been fine. But at this point, I think you just keep Omos and MVP together as a duo.
Okay.
And I think that Bobby needs to be by himself as well and take his face run. And I think Bobby versus Roman is sometime down the line.
Bobby versus Roman is awesome.
It's coming up soon.
Yes, sir.
So I'm there for that.
Before we get off of WWE content, because we really wrapped up everything from the weeks that was NXT, Raw, SmackDowns. There's one thing that we need to discuss because it's just out of pure disgust of what they're doing with this person, this title, this division. And that's the SmackDown Women's Division. Charlotte is handicapping that SmackDown Women's Division and
I think
title.
they got me back though. They got me back this week.
Okay.
A submission match is what it should have been. It should have been a WrestleMania submission match. Like that's the thing. Like you guys are too late. Like why do you have so? Okay,
Is it too late or are they giving them time?
they're giving them time, but like the WrestleMania match wasn't it. I'm be honest. It's not one of Charlotte's best matches. Ronda
Absolutely
Rousey could have done better too. It was cool, you know. But the submission match is where the story was at. Now seeing a submission match between Ronda and Charlotte, I think at WrestleMania
And then have that psychology
that
going
psychology.
on. Yeah.
Somebody got to quit. Somebody got to tap. You know that, and Charlotte already tapped Ronda, you know, on SmackDown a couple weeks ago.
Is it a submission match or I quit match?
Oh, so I quit match. It's even crazy. You know, so you guys say you quit.
And that's
Yeah.
tough to have at Mania.
Yeah.
That's tough. That premise is tough to have at Mania.
Why?
Because
We've never seen it at Mania, right?
we've never, and I think also
Ronda Rousey has to say I quit. Sean for one of those two. I think that is a good angle. I think at WrestleMania, somebody got to say they quit, and then you know she can go the whole thing of like, yo, Ronda, you quit UFC and want to make you quit WWE. Like that would have been amazing going into WrestleMania. So it's just like, come on, guys. And hey, Charlotte, I'm giving it to you. That's a line you can use this week.
I'm giving it
Come
to
on,
you.
tomorrow. Go ahead, use that line because it's facts. You know, like, you listen, I'm gonna make you quit the WWE just like you use to quit the UFC. So when it comes to like, you know, the women's division, yeah, I think that they're trying something with Charlotte. However,
You had a high thought,
yeah.
hot take.
However, this is what I think should happen. You put Charlotte in AEW. Give the title to Ronda. And Charlotte, I'm telling you, whenever your contract is up, go join your boo and change the wrestling industry on its head, kind of like Cody Rhodes is doing right now. And this is what I'm saying. Like, if it's not Charlotte, I'll say this real quick, and then I'll go back to Charlotte. If it's not Charlotte, it should be one of the four horsewomen because there's a stacked ass women's division in WWE.
Gotta be Charlotte.
You got Bianca, you got Becky, you got Sasha, you got Naomi, you got Lacey came back.
They gotta be
great.
Charlotte. They gotta be
You
Charlotte.
there's so many talented women in WWE. You guys have already cemented your legacy in WWE. If any one of those four horsewomen to go to WWE, it would be Charlotte. And she would turn the industry on her head. And just like that, number one woman in the industry again. I think that she has the ability to have more freedom in AEW, try to change her character up. She has Andrade there, her man's there. When your contract is over, go to AEW, see what's happening. If I was Tony Khan, I would be talking to Andrade like, yo, what's up? I know I'm not doing no tampering, but like, you know, we would like a queen over here. Let's bring your queen over to AEW and let's get it popping. Britt Baker versus Charlotte Flair are all out. What would that do to the buy rate? What would that do to the show?
Charlotte versus Tony Storm.
Charlotte versus Tony Storm again, the proper way. No pies. You know, that would be
Unless we got some poontang.
But think about it. You know, Jay Cargill. Woo! Charlotte Flair! Woo! Think about the matches she can have and also really elevate the women's division in AEW. It's just sitting right there. You know? Even Red Velvet can stir it up with Charlotte. So I love the fact that we have an option here now. And I know it's not WWE, Charlotte. I know it's not WWE. You work more days in WWE. It's a different type of schedule. And you're not going to have WrestleMania. But you've done WrestleMania year in, year out, and won. You've done it.
Won every title.
You won every single title. What are you going to do now? Becky Lynch is kind of taking your spotlight in WWE.
Sasha's always just the girl.
And now we got Bianca, who's probably the best woman on the roster.
And Bayley is the most fundamentally sound wrestler out of the four.
And once she comes back, she's going to get the light. You know, there's nothing you can do at that point other than to have a feud with Ronda and either win or lose. And then what? Start her own stable? Like, that's why I said you got Reina Gonzalez right on the corner. Raquel Rodriguez now. Right around the corner, you know, trying to, you know, make her name now. You got all these you got Lacey Evans. They're coming up. And you got freaking Liv Morgan and Doudrop. Yo, go to AEW, let those women have their time, and just change the business completely up. And after Charlotte goes to AEW, it'll be just as big as Cody going to
fuck
WWE.
That. You think if Charlotte goes to AEW or Charlotte goes to Impact? Cause Charlotte doing exactly what Rick did. Charlotte going to
Charlotte
Impact.
hate Impact.
No, Charlotte versus Mickey. Charlotte versus Deonna Purrazzo. Charlotte versus Tasha
Charlotte needs
Steele.
to be on real TV. And I'm not knocking Impact, but they're not.
We ain't got gunshots with this motherfucker. Fuck it, I'm about to.
I watch Impact. I like the matches. I like the wrestlers there, but they're not on the same level as AEW. Let's not act like that. The budget is the same. It's not. You can see it. There's like no people in the crowd, and Charlotte's not gonna do that. You know, she's not. But AEW,
Yeah, she want to go.
she will even
small
get
crowd
to,
in
she would
Florida.
be able to
really-
show a whole new edge. She can blade if she wanted to. She can do hardcore matches. She can do dives. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. She can imagine her let loose on the mic, like things that she can't say that she wants to say. Imagine that promo she cuts when she shows up against WWE, and those Charlotte will be the number one wrestler in the industry if she went to AEW. Or one of the top. One of the top.
Oh, we chopping that up and sending it to the internet.
She'll be one of the top wrestlers in the industry, and she just doesn't have the steam that she has now that she used to in WWE, in my opinion. And that's just, I think this is the move.
I like that idea, man. I like that idea. When you brought that to me, I thought that was fantastic. And since we're on AEW, we're gonna go ahead and run through AEW. They had a great week of wrestling, and then we're gonna end with Business and Logic, and then that will be the show. I think.
Yeah. AEW is moving, man.
AEW's doing some
We don't
really good
want
shit,
to-
man.
Just because the WrestleMania just happened, we don't want to not highlight what AEW's done over the past couple of weeks. They have tomorrow a Texas death match between Adam Cole and Hangman Page. I don't think it's that popular or that has that much steam going into it, but hey,
And they give that away on free TV. That's
sorry, bro, but Adam Cole, he's not MJF. Like I said, that match with MJF and Hangman Page will be the main event in that pay-per-view, or CM Punk, one of those two. But going forward, I think I want to see the match. The matches are quality, banger for banger for banger. CM Punk and Penta just put on a banger. The Red Dragon versus Jurassic Express this week was a banger. You had FTR and Young Bucks a couple weeks ago, banger. And what we're seeing now is the evolution that with Cody gone, they're really, and not just even before Cody left, AEW just knows how to build and highlight young talent that you've never seen before, and they know how to build their stars. But we complain about WWE not building stars, which they do. We can debunk that anytime. But AEW is now doing it as well. Building new stars, showing that, hey, these person that you've never seen before, we're going to make you feel them. We're going to make you interested in them. And AEW is doing a great job of it. Let's start with fucking Wardlow, man. This dude, how do you have an angle with MJF and CM Punk. And in the process of that, you have MJF just downplaying this guy and using him and talking down to him the entire way. And then subsequently, simultaneously getting him over in the main event match of that angle. And having him go over there and hand the ring over to CM Punk. CM Punk's uses it to defeat MJF. And in that small moment right there, you created a new star. Darby Allin, man, we can talk about the year that he had. We can talk about Sammy Guevara and the ladder matches that he had with Cody Rhodes, and what he's done with the
TNT
Championship prior with all those amazing matches. And then this week on a Rampage, Yuta versus Jon Moxley, man, and it got a lot of love because people don't know Yuta. People don't know. Is it Jimmy Yuta?
Yeah, Wheeler Yuta.
Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
Wheeler Yuta. People don't know him, but yeah, you work with him in MLW.
Yeah,
he's a wrestler. He can go.
Him and Jason Cade was a tag team, and then they had a feud. I was a PA for a lot of these stuff. And Wheeler used to come from Philly, from after school.
Wow.
He was in college. I don't know if he's graduated from college or anything, but he's up in Philly doing this thing in school. Come down MLW, do his shots, do his spots, wrestle, go back to Philly. And he was doing that. And he was earning his chops on the indie scene. And like we say, supporting indie wrestlers allow them to get on the spots like for the culture or MLW. Shout out to MLW while we're here.
Yeah.
They got black champions galore out there. EJ the Judge, Calvin Tankman, tag team champions. They got Myron Reed as the middleweight champion. That should be the Myron Reed championship. The nigga's been champion 3 times out that motherfucker. I say Samoa niggas are Samoa niggas. Jacob Fatu
Jacob
was
Fatu,
one of the greatest heavyweight champions
For sure.
in wrestling. So MLW just wanted to get, but that's where I saw Yuta. And then I haven't really followed Yuta because I didn't follow Yuta. Now he's always pure champion.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. Like how they got to this point with Jon Moxley is they first had Supercard of Honor.
Yep.
And he goes out there and he defeats Gresham. Right?
Was Gresham pure champion? Hold on, let me check right quick.
Gresham is ROH champion, but I thought he was holding both of them.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me look that up. But go ahead and finish.
But essentially, they made him pure champion, which is, I think, the most pure wrestling championship. No, I think the name says it all. It's go out there, you have a match. You know, you got like 3 rope breaks. You know, you gotta wrestle your man out to the ground and really pin him or submit him.
Josh Woods was the
Josh Woods.
Excuse me, sorry.
Shout out to Josh Woods. He's doing his thing. But Jimmy Uta beat Josh Woods. I need to go back and watch Josh Woods versus Gresham because that must have been a great match.
Yep, Woods beat Gresham. Yep,
right.
Woods beat Gresham at Death Before Dishonor.
Okay.
And then after that, Wheeler beat Josh Woods at Supercard in Dallas. Yep.
So you have a title on him going into this match with Jon Moxley. And I heard somebody say this. So he comes in, and they proceed to have a knockdown fight, dead ass. And he spot for spot, he kept up with Jon Moxley. Not only did he keep up with him, he kicked out of his finisher. He just wouldn't go down, and Jon Moxley had to just choke him out. You know, and he's bloodied. You can see in the picture there, and he's trying to get the respect of the Blackpool.
Combat Club.
Yeah, I believe.
Okay.
And the story, he had to go. He getting there, trying to get the respect. He had to go through just hell. Jon Moxley's like, hey, I don't fuck with people until I bleed with them. He's like, I'm not. You're not one of my friends. You're not one of my teammates until I bleed with you. And he went out there and bled with Yuta in a great match. Yuta showed out, and everybody now knows the name Yuta. AEW put him in the position to do this from telling that story, from when he, left the best friend and it's like, went to go shake William Regal's hand, and he slapped the shit out of that nigga.
Slapped the fuck out that.
And just put the pure championship on him first going into this match, it just adds credibility to Yuta. And I'm interested to see where this goes because it was a great match, and I didn't really know. And there was somebody who said a really good thing. A really poignant thing. They said that Jon Moxley gave Yuta the match that Brock Lesnar should have gave him at WrestleMania. What was it?
Absolutely.
34?
No, it was 32. Dallas.
32?
Dallas. It was the first Dallas Mania. It was supposed to be a hardcore match, and that's what Moxley wanted. He wanted to.
Yeah.
He wanted to go.
Brock won by choking him out, and after going through all that, and then shook his hand afterwards. That would have been what Jon Moxley deserved, but he's the man who. He can tell a story, and now we got Euler in the Blackpool Combat Club, and you got to respect it. You got to respect how AEW puts on for the new talent consistently for people that you haven't even seen before and makes them something special. So shout out to them. And when the whole internet is buzzing about somebody who we haven't, we did something right.
I think that is true. That is true. I think they haven't necessarily missed the mark with a lot of their young talent. And I would like to debunk everything about wrestling isn't creating new stars because kids are painting their face like Darby Allin. You know what I'm saying? Like girls are going to fucking Halloween costume parties as Bianca Belair. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And those are opposite companies right there, just two crossover stars. Hell, Darby Allin fucking skated with Tony Hawk and Bianca Belair was in the picture with Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, these new stars that are being created in AEW are players, legit new players in the business that can make money. Wardlow is going to be AEW's Batista. That nigga's a beast. He's a monster. He is it. He's him.
And the story they're telling with him and MJF is flawless. Honestly, they haven't missed.
Yeah, it is not a plot hole in there. You know what I'm saying? Just last night, again, we're doing a Thursday. Last night, my nigga beat the shit out of MJF. MJF got another loss, and my nigga Wardlow shook and said, you will let me out this contract, or this will be your life every time I see your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I don't really think you want this nigga just, again, Danny Garcia knows about niggas just hunting you down anywhere you at. You know what I'm saying? That nigga Eddie Kingston pulled up on that nigga at a New Japan show. I told your ass nigga on site. I know where you stay, nigga. Nigga, Eddie Kingston in the Buffalo, nigga. I know where you live, nigga.
He pulled up on those 2.0 guys. He pulled up on those 2.0 guys at the freaking. How do you even get to the airport flight? Where the fuck were they at?
Nigga, probably
the tarmac.
Nigga,
they're on the fucking tarmac. Eddie Kingston falling off, and they took his shoes. They took all my shoes. So I don't even know how you get on the tarmac. But shout out to Eddie Kingston doing Eddie Kingston shit and keeping it real, keeping it a buck. And like those little touches, even though it's a short little backstage segment, it adds something to the storyline. Even though you don't like.
And I'm glad. I was just about to say, I'm glad they're doing something because Danny should be a nigga that should bleed too. Lee is a nigga that should bleed.
But let me ask you something, because who needs it more? Daniel Garcia to bleed for legitimacy or Yuta? I think that Yuta has a face of like
absolutely
this baby face that needs that edge.
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia needs the sports entertainment kind of shit. He needs a little bit more swag. You put him with Chris Jericho, who can show him how
show the ropes. Yeah.
You know, so I think they have a method to their madness with AEW.
Now, who can Lee Moriarty learn from?
Lee Moriarty.
Because right now we see that the prominent black niggas is fighting each other, which is
they're doing a great job.
I'm glad they ain't banging them niggas together, but
oh man,
Swerve, Ricky Starks,
they had a crazy ass match, great match, loved it. Man, I don't want him to put him with them, but who has?
Can't do you put him with the BCC? Is it because the baby faces need some edge? Do Wheeler and Lee have a feud now? Like what? What do we need to get my nigga over?
That's a great question, man. Because I don't.
Because Danny's getting taken care of with Jericho. Wheeler's getting taken care of with Brian Danielson right now, but Lee now.
What if they put him with House of Black and completely change the shit up? Have him come out there wearing a black suit. And just stretch niggas.
But that's gonna fuck up the trios title right now. House of Black doing the thing right now, and them niggas is strong.
They don't even got a trios title yet. So
Tony's the set is coming. He had to buy ROH just to get shit. LA nigga ain't good. It's coming, nigga.
Okay.
But they gonna have a trios title. Okay. But I hear what you're saying. Something that gives him. But does Lee Moriarty needs Mystique, or does Lee Moriarty needs? Like, cause Jurassic Express doesn't work, but he needs who is a baby face.
I would have loved Yuta's spot to be hit, but I'm not gonna. Yuta needed that, so shout out to Yuta. He did a great job.
What baby face can just grab him and just Sting?
No, Sting's doing his Darby Allin thing.
Correct.
I think you turn him heel, man. I want to see Lee Moriarty as a heel. I don't want to see him doing any baby face stuff. I want to see him really. Stretch
but
people
they don't
out.
Have a baby face. That he can fit. They
don't have baby face where? They have tons of baby face. I think the Blackpool Combat Club is a baby face group. They're just badasses. You know? Like I just think that
who's their white meat baby face on the roster right now? Besides Adam Page.
Jurassic Express.
Okay, boom. That's tag division.
Jurassic Express and tag division. All right.
We'll give Adam Hangman Page and
the
champion. So who's like we talk about middle tier, that middle ground?
Sammy.
He's a heel if anybody's a heel. Did you hear those boos, nigga? You can't pipe those boos out.
Sammy Guevara's not getting booed. You getting booed?
Nigga, you ain't watched that segment.
He's getting booed? Okay, I gotta watch it back because if Sammy's getting booed, then that's news to me.
Sammy and Ty Conti are the biggest heels in the business.
Oh, they don't like them? Okay. All right, then it's time to turn, man. And then you put Lee in that spot.
Can Lee be a babyface and beat and insert himself in that TNT title picture?
Lee needs to just keep on beating people up. Man.
Lee and Scorpio Sky was slap.
Lee and Scorpio Sky will be dope. Lee and even
Lee and Sammy Guevara for number one champ, and that's how you can turn Sammy Guevara heel, possibly. right? Sammy wants the championship bad so bad.
Rolls him up or something, and then
or do Lee Moriarty win the Owen Hart championship? Owen Hart tournament.
That's for the women, man.
They got two sides.
They got two tournaments.
They got the men and the women. The men and the women's side.
Oh, okay.
Because Samoa Joe beat Max Caster in the tournament.
That's the guy, Samoa Joe. Put him with Samoa Joe. Put Lee with Samoa Joe. Yeah. That's his homie. There you go.
I do. All right. I think the Samoa Joe can be like, yo, everybody around here got a mentor, huh? And just grab that nigga
and put him under his wing.
That'll be fire.
And
we just said Sting got Darby.
You got the TV championship, and you can go out. He can go out to take the TNT championship and then try to, rock with that.
That'd be fire. That'd be fire, and teach him how to be a
television championship and TNT championship.
That'd be fire. That'd be dope. All right, we did a second book in black. You know what I'm saying? Because Lee not in this graphic, but we had to shout out any and everybody black. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
Speaking of AEW, one time down, like you say, great matches, great bangs in the matches. Tony Khan, Stealth Twitter. Come on, goddamn. Nigga, like, what you talking about? Bots? Nigga, what?
Nah, for real, Tony Khan, when it comes down to running a company, running a business, you're a new age millennial, CEO. You're coming off like a wrestling forum cat, and we're all marks of wrestling, and it's like, I'm a mark too, but you're not me. I can do that. I can make a conspiracy theory and throw it out there. You cannot do this as the owner of the company. It just, even if it was true, it doesn't look good. Do your investigation, find out what the fuck you need to find out, and shut the fuck up. No one cares. Even if there are bots saying that's people are talking about AEW, no one cares. Focus on the people that you're serving. Focus on people that care about AEW, that love AEW, that are paying the money for AEW. That's your fucking job.
You put on great shows anyway.
You're putting on great shows. Why are you bringing negative attention into your atmosphere? It just makes no sense.
Let's be real, because I don't think I don't know. I don't listen to all other podcasts, but you want some negative attention? I'll bring it to you. What about your dad? What about Daddy Khan, who eliminated a whole black networks channel with black talent, black showrunners, black producers, black show writers, black TV camera operators, just got rid of it and ain't paying them niggas their severance? What about the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just had a toxic work environment? You want some bad publicity? We can give it to you. We can bring it directly to your doorstep.
It's not just somebody saying that they don't like
AEW wrestling
on Twitter.
I mean, you got some real life consequential stuff that is happening under your watchful eye and under your business acumen elsewhere in wrestling. Oh, you want to talk about some shit in wrestling? What about is it bots talking about Swole still, or is it real life people?
Real life
still people talking about your situation with Swole.
There's a video, like, you can see our faces. Come see us, like. We'll tell you what you're doing.
You ain't gotta enter no cachet or ask if you're a robot to see us talk about this shit.
Nah, listen,
ain't no street lights or taxis or crosswalks to hear what we gotta say about the bad shit that you can talk about.
Need to apologize to Swole. Let's keep it a buck. You still need to apologize for that.
And all those motherfucking questions that, shout out to the homie Righteous Red just asking. Righteous, dog, ask him about Swole next time, please.
For real.
Ask him about Swole.
Somebody, please. Because he ain't gonna come on this.
You know what I'm saying? Like somebody on one of those media scrums, like, hey, you're doing some really great stuff in wrestling. You are one of the only wrestling promotion companies that are actively putting on LGBTQ community on TV, black, white. You got Hispanic representing Thunder Rosa wins in the text. Like, you're doing some really good work in the spirit of wrestling. What about what's going on the business side of wrestling that you talk? You just let people go. You have pay cuts. You got some people that ain't renewing their contract with you. But we don't talk about you like that. So if you don't want or need that, bro, if you want to go fuck some bitches.
I wonder.
You know what I'm saying? After you play with your nose, my nigga, like, don't get on Twitter.
You think he's on coke?
I mean, whatever. Allegedly.
Bots. Oh my god, the bots are taking over and they're talking about it on AEW. Who would do such a thing? Who would spend so much money?
You
Listen,
dumbass niggas.
listen
You
to me.
probably did the research and forgot that you hired niggas to say bad thing about
I
wrestling.
don't want to spread propaganda. I don't know if this nigga's on coke. But what the thing is that as running a company, you gotta conduct yourself better. You cannot call out former workers, employees that you paid to do the job, who actually did the job they were supposed to fucking do and got over and got people to your fucking show and call them out and say, hey, listen, you weren't doing good enough as a wrestler on Twitter. You cannot go back and forth with fans. You cannot say that, oh, you know, the real hate that's going on online is not really real. Because guess what? You know you're feeding your AEW fan base marks. We're gonna believe everything you say. Listen, I fuck with AEW. I love AEW. I watch AEW every single week. But at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to be as sane and proper when you talk about your company on social media or any platform.
Do you want to honor like Vince or Tony Khan? Because Vince would just come in and be like, "Happy birthday, Paul." Happy birthday, Stephanie. Yeah.
And Shane,
Hey, Shane, did you take out the trash?
oh man. But for real though, like I think that Tony Khan needs to understand. I know he's younger than Vince. He's in a different era. He's a millennial. Like, you know.
But Steve
But
Cohen, the Mets owner, is the same thing, right?
You can't be a fan forever when you're running this shit. Like if me and you were to run a business, right, and say now we're not talking wrestling anymore. We're actually making the fucking shit. We're stirring the pot. We're making the sauce. We're creating the shit. I got nothing to say to y'all niggas. I'm telling you. At that point, I got nothing to say to y'all niggas. I'm over here working. I'm making the show the best it can be, and all my energy towards that.
Especially it ain't about wrestling.
Whoever's talking their shit, they're gonna talk their shit no matter what. There's gonna be some shit. Oh, you found out it was a box? Guess what? I found out I wouldn't even do an investigation. Let's say you want to do that just to find out if they're real people. Guess what? There's bots everywhere. There's bots on all types of freaking social media. You want to talk dating apps? You want to talk bots everywhere? Who gives a fuck? That's my point. Who gives a fuck? Elections? Who gives a fuck? There's bots talking bad about AEW. Even if it's not news. That's not fucking news. So grow the fuck up. And good job for AEW making you stars. You're doing a great job.
You're doing a really great job. One thing I do want to talk about too, before we get out of here, Business and Logic. We don't have a little graphic for it, but the state of Missouri issued out. Well, I don't want to call it an edict, but it was a public service announcement.
Listen, we need more money.
That's pretty much what it was. Like that's pretty much what it was.
COVID fucked us up.
It says
everybody moving out.
To all promoters from the executive director, and this goes to permit fees increase, license fees increase, surcharges on tickets. And from what I understand, Missouri is a state commission. From what I understand, so excuse me, I may be speaking out of turn, but what that means is that them niggas can legislate a lot of shit without y'all niggas having to say.
Listen,
so
finish what you're saying. Go on.
So what they said was, please be advised that on April 30th, 2022, a new rule will become effective for the Missouri Office of Athletics. All permits for professional boxing, professional wrestling, professional full contact karate, professional mixed martial arts, amateur kickboxing, and amateur mixed martial arts will now be $150 per day per event. I'm assuming that is an increase or surcharge to what the previous thing was. They said, please note that on July 1st, 2022, amateur contestant license will increase from $40 from previously $30. Seconds license will increase from $30, previously $20. And all boxing and MMA identification cards will increase from $20 from currently $15. All licenses are effective from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2024. Now, this is another thing that I wanted to read, the third paragraph. Also taking effect on July 1st, $1 surcharges will be placed on all tickets, including complimentary tickets. Therefore, the office will expect to receive a computer-generated box office accounting of all tickets sold and any complimentary tickets issued. If no computer printout is available, the inspector will secure all ticket stubs to determine an accurate accounting of all tickets issued for this event. essentially what they're saying is that whatever, and like you say, the business pays for it on the front end. But we will get it on the back.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
You know what I'm saying? The consumer
in Missouri, they're raising the price it costs to do any type of combat or any type of events in their arenas, right?
Yep.
So you purchase a stadium, you purchase an arena, the state got to get their cut, and they're raising the ticket prices because
the license fees,
everything,
all that, everything,
all that. So that will be paid out. I mean, the cost will then move over to us. So in Missouri, if you're out in Missouri, you will be paying more to see your wrestling, paying more to see your boxing, paying more to see your karate, whatever it may be.
But that's going to be hard on some of the promoters.
It will be hard. It will be hard on the promoters, but that is going. It's going to have to take some time, But I think this is something that's a trend that you're going to see more often as time goes on with combat because it gets more popular. What's getting more like? What are your events now? You get sports events like NBA.
Football, baseball, live event sports. Period.
Live events. Period
is the only thing that makes people spend money.
Yeah.
Period.
I don't think they would do this for like a Broadway, but I think they're doing it for combat sports and that type of stuff because I think it draws a bigger crowd. When you have people coming in from state and out of state to watch a UFC match, they're like, all right, let's cash in. Let's cash in on this in Missouri. And I think after the COVID event, I think a lot of states are trying to make their money back. And I already see it here in Florida, So at this point, things are going to be going up. So you guys can expect to see wrestling events be a little bit more costly, business logic-wise. Because they're not eating that charge.
And a lot of states is going to not be able, or cities are not going to be able to house certain things until, again, listen. Okay. SummerSlam is going to be in Tennessee. Now, nothing against the good people in Nashville, Tennessee. But the party of the summer in Nashville, Tennessee, if they start adding some motherfucking taxes in states like that, guess what? We're not going to get a lot of SummerSlams in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's true. They might not book Missouri as much. Like they know, all right, it's going to
cost a surcharge per ticket, comp tickets and all, and WWE doing 15, 20,000.
They're going to raise your ticket by $1. That's what's going to happen. They're going to raise your ticket by $1.
$2.
$2. That's right, $2. They're gonna raise it by $2, get some extra bread. But yeah, that's what's gonna happen. And
so you think more states for sure will follow the trend, and
if they're having trouble, if they're New York, they don't need it. They're doing things they're doing so much. If you're in LA, but then
New York can see another way to get some money, nigga.
They will. Absolutely, but they might already be doing it for a while. I gotta do my research on New York and all that stuff. But cost inflation is a real thing, man. We all know that. So
yeah, man, it's $20 for a pack of chips.
There's some news for you. It's going to affect WWE, so just stay tuned if you live out there in Missouri or if you're going to an event in Missouri. But just also stay tuned to see if that pops up for any other states because I do think that this is directly for
some indie promotions are already, making their claim of like, man, it's already difficult for us to, get the permits, run the events, get the money to do so.
That's what's gonna hurt the most.
And you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the middle class. We hold steady trying to motherfucking keep this thing afloat and everywhere. Middle class in America, middle class and fucking the middle class in sports is getting ate alive. Either you a motherfucking middle nigga get no money, or the top dog get big money. You know what I'm saying? Middle class is just shut out. So the guys and girls that are trying to be inclusive, I believe that's the word I was going for, and trying to just run home promotions, getting home talent over it, and just be able to do things for within their community is going to be a lot tougher. So support those people whenever you can. I think it's very important for the community to know these things, like you say, and for us to be aware so we can go ahead and do our.
If you can go to a wrestling event out there in Missouri, why not? Just go take because I think that it keeps it moving. It keeps the industry moving. I think they'll be all right.
And promoters play the boys and girls. All right. I know business is gonna be the business, but are you running wrestling? You don't make money in this. You dig? So if you pay, if business is gonna be like this, and listen, if people are gonna be more aware of the business, then do the business correctly. And speaking of business, do business correctly. Before we end the show, the way AEW ended their show last night had a lot to do with business that AEW is trying to secure on the India side, right? We saw WWE placate to that country, making Jinder Mahal WWE champion, the pageantry behind it. There is monetary value to people having
an Indian star available.
Indian presence. Period. It's like and
we see Veer Mahan, and what they're doing with him on Raw. We talked about Jinder in the past,
but Sangha.
Yeah, Sangha I think is gonna be a freaking monster going forward. He's gonna be the man. He should be champion. I'm praying, But when it comes down to it, I think when it comes to AEW doing this with, can you pull up his name? Homeboy that just debuted with Jay Lethal. A lot of people hated on the segment. I didn't care too much about it because we just proceeded a match with Samoa Joe and Minoru Suzuki, and people were like, "Oh man, they're doing some things with." There's one of the worst, finishes or surprises in AEW, and AEW has had some big surprises, but I mean, this is WWE shit. You make a business decision. You want to bring in a talent because you want to hit a market,
Satnam Singh. He was the first Indian player drafted in the NBA. So he was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks back in 2015. They're saying he's 7'3". You know what I'm saying? And
my thing is, I don't know if this is an Anthony Ogogo situation. Where you just come in just to, do a quick thing and then bounce. But where the hell is that nigga at? I think that Satnam Singh might be there to stay if they have business out there in India. But, he's definitely huge.
Well, I think they have business out in India due to the merger that's happening with Warner Media and Discovery. Okay, so that's another thing, business and logic that's happening right now. AEW is they got their contract. They're on television. Warner does own TNT and TBS, but this merger that's happening with Discover doesn't necessarily put things in flux, but does put things in a renegotiation situation. There's going to be new shareholders. There's going to be new people on the board, new people to impress, new people to see if AEW fits the portfolio of what's happening in the merger. And a lot of people think that AEW is secure. A lot of people do believe that the ratings and the sustainability that they're bringing as far as eyeballs, engagement, does help network television as cable cutting is happening and as people are getting away from watching live television more and more. The thing that is important to note, though, is that everything creatively done in this industry has a tinge of business involved in why it's done. And I need us to, right, everybody can see it, right? You talk about it at WrestleMania. We talk about it with the presence in India. We talk about it with the presence in Saudi Arabia.
This is to make money, man.
It is we can talk
about passion, all that stuff.
Tony Khan got passion, but he need that passion to transcend and cross over to India.
It's not a bad thing because, this is what we want. We want wrestling to grow. We want wrestling to, have there be a real competition with WWE. The environment where we care about Cody going to WWE is created by this environment where you have another company doing great business.
Yep.
So that's the thing that we're going to get from this. Now, it's a long play because obviously Satnam wasn't a big buzz name.
I mean, the lights go out and niggas is like, "Is this Bray? is this Bray? Oh my god!"
When Bray shows up, the world might just freaking collapse.
But it's Taker told him to come home. Yeah. So
Yeah. Taker told him to come home. Like that's what he misses. I miss him too.
Bray and Roman is a story for the fucking ages.
If they can actually do it, which I don't trust them. I don't fucking trust them. I don't trust them at this.
Hey, listen,
They can't even tell Roman Brock.
Hold. I hear you. What you just said. Cody came home and called his shots creatively of how he's going to tell his story.
Mm-hmm.
Can Bray come back home and be like,
yo, I would be so mad if I was Bray because how many times I gotta reinvent myself for you niggas? Like for real. Like I gotta come back and just do something completely different. Yo, the Funhouse was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen in wrestling.
but it's in his DNA. His dad changed so many times. Like
that was the IRS forever.
No, his dad was the captain, nigga. His dad was Mike Rotunda, the captain. The wrestler, he was part of the motherfucking with Kevin Sullivan and
you know what I'm saying? That's not like Undertaker where he completely shifting. I think or Chris Jericho who has so many different personas that he goes with. Bray literally took the cult leader and shifted an entire character to this demented demon of the Fiend. And the mind that creates that. Do you have to test him again to create something else?
I don't think test him, but I think Bray. I'm saying Bray doesn't have to come back with a different incarnation. Bray can come back with just creative control like Cody, and I think that you don't have to trust WWE to tell a story. You can trust Bray to tell a story.
But Bray did that with the
He did that with the Fiend, yes, but you're also talking about circumstances.
And then they treated him like whatever, they jobbed him out once someone got back and healthy. And then then they fired him, and then they gave his gimmick to Alexa, which was like, so now Bray can't even use this the same kind of way unless he changes it up somehow new. Because Alexa's just been doing a watered down version of this for months, and they don't even put her on WrestleMania, so he wasted that. So it's like, I would be so mad if I was him, like, you guys don't even know what you're doing. There's so much money. He was selling T-shirts out the wazoo, selling masks out the wazoo. So it was just, I don't get it. And maybe he's going through his own thing. And if that's the case, then shout out to Wyndham, excuse me. Shout out to Duke. Shout out to Wyndham. And I just can't wait to see you back. You are my favorite wrestler. You are my favorite wrestler as of right for the past how long have you been around? Since you showed up with the whole world in my hands and had these little girls singing around the ring with John Cena and completely being the juxtaposition to John Cena's babyface, white meat character, he's been my favorite character, and he's always elevated his game. So what they're doing right now with this fake ass Alexa Bliss shit, it bugs me still.
Well, she has a bit on she has a bit on TV. I mean, they knew it was.
But that's the thing. If you're gonna bastardize his shit and give it to somebody, you might as well fucking use her and turn it into something like a dark character for Women's Division that goes somewhere.
You know what they did? They just said we're just gonna re-rock and give it the edge. So listen, we listen to Stove God shit. What'd he say? Niggas step on a lot of work out here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you still push her on the corner.
But Bray is still
and niggas still gonna fire that.
Woo! But Gray is
he's still at glass, nigga. Come on.
Gray is the Cinderella slipper when it comes to wrestling, and that's why I was like, fuck it, go to AEW and do something over there because, WWE, every time you fucking show out and do something, they treat you like you're expendable. Like, it's ridiculous.
I love Bray. I think Bray is one.
We gotta smoke with Bray. I hope he smokes. We gotta smoke with Wyndham.
Yeah. Yo, Wyndham, LA, pull up. We're gonna be in that velvet road with Smoke Dizza. We're calling our shots right now.
Smoke Dizza, Bray, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast.
Smoke Dizza, Bray,
Westside,
yo, shout out to Camo Monk. You know what I mean? Thank you, Snap God. Like, yo, when y'all see us next year, just know we're calling our shots. Emilio, we appreciate you, Kaz. We appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? For what y'all listen. I have the screenshot of me listening to the very first Wrestle Rap episode of Emilio Sparks and Kaz. And what they did for wrestling podcasts, I know Peter Rosenberg is a podfather with Juan Epstein and shit like that. But for wrestling podcasts, for me, culture wise. You know, we ain't talking about what all them other niggas is doing. Culture wise, Russell Rap, Emilio Sparks, Cash, y'all niggas took that and then made everything y'all did after that. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that
it's honestly inspirational.
Bruh,
it really is.
It is.
And to make the connections you made in network and to make Wale Mania such a popping event, you guys are a huge part of that. And Florida Culture, we see, Amelia working at DJ Booth at Florida Culture last year. This is the stuff that moves the industry, and being a small part of it is huge. So I'm
not even a small.
Talking about
us. We're a small part of it. We're off that from them. We're the fume. We're the gas fumes coming off y'all exhaust pipe from y'all. Boom, hitting the gas. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it was this weekend was special for us because, we had a growth between us. We met in 2018. I went to WrestleMania by myself. I think the year previous, you had just went to the WrestleMania. The 2 years previous, you had went to the WrestleMania before that. So you had a solo. I had a solo. We met. Then we did a Wale Mania and a WrestleMania weekend together. And then this was our first Mania together as a show, as a brother, as a friendship.
And we got to see Stone Cold Steve Austin give one of the worst funnies I've ever seen. But yeah, him and Kid was fantastic. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I smoked in Jerry's World, nigga. I lit a fucking joint in Jerry's World, dog. I don't know. Listen, we just some mature ass niggas. So yeah, when you see us next year, it's deserving, man. Whatever we say, we do. So, yo, Wyndham, see you in LA, man.
See you in LA. Yo, pull up. It's lit. Listen, everything is wrestling. All is love. We'll be back on May 26th.
Our 4-year
anniversary. Season 4 of RWP Podcast. Coming soon. Taking a little bit of hiatus after WrestleMania. I'm doing some moving, so you'll see us virtually. And we'll shake shit up,
Man, this was a pretty good show, man. We had a really good... And before we end, because we're going to end, I just want to end by asking a question. Are we too entitled as fans?
Yeah, but I think that's kind of what being a fan is. And I think that people can take it too far. People can get lost in idolizing.
So we're entitled to entitlement?
Here's the thing about it. I think people are too entitled as fans to people because they think that because when you don't know somebody personally, you tend to idolize them and put them on a pedestal. And when you put them on a pedestal and you find out they're human, or they do something that's out of character, or they don't show up at a show that you wanted to see them at, you then lose that human element, and you then, you have this entitlement like, oh, I paid my money to see this here with you. But they're human beings going out there with their own body, with their own life, to bring their own time and doing that performance. So, yeah, we are too entitled. But I think that does come with the give and take of being a fan is that, part of it is that people love you, what you perform, and people enjoy what you do as art. But there will be people that feel like just because they love what you do, they almost own a piece of you, which is not true.
That's why I wanted to have this conversation before we ended, because this spawned from a conversation I seen on Twitter about Sasha Banks not showing up in Vegas for SummerSlam. And a lot of people feel like they're owed an explanation as to why she wasn't able to perform, especially when she was, spotted or seen out the night before. SummerSlam, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know if I spoke.
So she was out in the city.
They said that she was out and about. So again, I'm not out. I'm not there. I don't know. But niggas got eyes. Everybody is a paparazzi now. I guess Sasha was out the night before being Mercedes.
What if they just said they wanted to bring Becky Lynch in and then she said, yo, Sasha.
Nah, Becky said that. Becky, that's the reason why. Becky added some conversation to it because she wasn't necessarily quite ready to come back yet. But she knew how important it was, again, to the business and being right? And if you watch The Evil, Sasha Banks is Evil, you get a little bit of the why, right? You get a little
I
bit
didn't
of
see it. Saw the Roman one. That was great.
Sasha's and Mike's Miz is the two
Okay.
most personable ones because of the fan entitlement attachment that I have to them. And therefore, I understand that Miz is a complete blanket for Mike because Mike is insecure. And then once Miz and Mike kind of blend, because then the Miz is insecure, then that's when you get the realism of what we see of 2016, 2018,
Yeah.
2020 of the Miz character. Because that
After
insecurity
when
blends.
you get disrespected all that time, and you feel like you can't, you just set it off.
Now, this
You
when we
know?
talk about Sasha Mercedes,
Mhm.
she says she hasn't heard her own voice. She doesn't see her real hair.
Oh,
She does
man.
that one off
That's
day
tough.
when she looks into the mirror, she
That's
doesn't
tough.
recognize Mercedes.
So she's the boss, and that's like and that's when you get the blend of character and real life.
And that's when you
Yeah.
like, all right, fuck it. The character and me out of here. Because again, Sasha Banks, the character that you are attached to, isn't necessarily valued if you are questioning and demanding from her something that isn't entitled to you.
Yeah.
You're not a true fan. You're not. And listen, bruh, from the very beginning of time, from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s,
I
the
don't
50s,
think-
it says card is subject to change.
Absolutely,
so therefore,
absolutely.
nigga, you walking into a situation without a guarantee that you gonna see what you paid your money for.
Absolutely, I don't want to ever like if you're going to Coachella and you pay to see Kanye West, and he pulls out of Kanye West, pulls out of Coachella. At least you know, okay, he's not there. I have a choice now. Should I get a refund? Not come in. And if you pay a ticket to go see Sasha Banks in Vegas or WrestleMania, and you get there and not there, and then on top of that, they give you what they fucking give you, Bianca, maybe even worse. So you're like, fuck, if you are that big of a fan and like a fanatic, I can see why you would ask that question. However, are we entitled to the answer? No, we're not entitled to the answer. I think that's might be a minority of her fan base, though.
Are you sure that's the minority? Because we say Twitter's not a real space, and it's real.
I don't know.
And the reason why I say that is because the power on after the fact makes her feel like she made the right
Did
decision.
she respond to anything?
I mean,
she might not even seen it.
They see it.
Okay.
What Wale Mania showed is that wrestlers see everything. Okay, wrestlers see the tweet, the vanity search of names. That's why it's called a vanity search.
Yeah.
But I do think that Sasha Banks she goes on the Logan Paul podcast. Her and Becky Lynch goes on, and she's like, hey man, like I feel like I've done everything I've done in wrestling. And our fans is like, no, you haven't. You haven't this, you haven't done this, you haven't. And she's like, no, because my value over here is respected a little bit more.
At that point,
My time and my who I am and what I'm growing
She
into
might
is
be out of here, and I think
and then y'all really gonna be
But
sad.
the thing about it is, Sasha is a star, and that's the cost it takes to be a star. Sometimes I'm not saying that you have no. Give me a second. I'm saying that that's one of the detriments of being a star. Do you think that she's the only person that feels that way? That she's the character a lot of the times, and then she can't be herself. You have to tune off. You gotta turn off social media. Like you can literally turn your phone off.
Yes, you
And you have to turn it off. It's a necessary thing. I'm not saying that any fan should be entitled to get an explanation. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you gotta expect that that's the game you're playing.
You can't tell them to shut the social media off. And again, social media is the job too. Social media is part of the job. I'm Sasha Banks, WWE. Like I have to post Sasha Banks. I have to give.
You have to choose yourself, and that's my thing. Is you have to choose yourself. I don't want Mercedes, ever having to be forced to do that. She should do Sasha Banks out of the love of the art that she performs, and that's it. I don't want her to be forced to have to become this character.
So then
24/7.
So then therefore that's
know?
okay. So then this goes back to a conversation that we have too. What I'm rolling into separating the art from the artistry. If you respect the artistry of professional wrestling, then say that, because you can have respect for both, and if you have respect
I'm a
for
Sasha
both,
Banks fan, I've never said, "Oh, she needs to explain to me." And there's a ton of people out there like that, because a lot of people didn't hear that conversation. Now maybe she has heard it, and maybe she doesn't feel like she has to say nothing, and all she has to do is just move the fuck on. Like that's the thing. And as a fan base, to the fan base that are saying that, if you don't, you're still gonna be a fan of Sasha Banks.
But the reason why I'm having a conversation, I'm trying to have it a little bit more deeper than what I'm trying to go.
No.
Is social media is a vitriol fucking place to be at. It's a vile fucking place to be at. And if fans who have entitlement don't get what the fuck they want, we see the results of that.
Yeah, fans
would and that's
but we've been
difficult.
preaching that on the pod for
Correct.
3 years now.
Right.
4 years. I believe that we represent that though. We have the nuanced conversation. We go through it, and we don't hold these characters to their character.
Correct.
Like I granted, like
we spoke about Nash. I know Zach. Right? I know Zachary. I don't have a comment on Zachary's position or situation. And I'm not going to bring my opinion to a wrestling podcast that's supposed to talk about the character of Nash Carter.
Yeah, so when you separate the artist from the artistry, I think people have a hard time on social media. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's why I'm not so much on it. That's why you might see me at Wally Mania and I don't talk to people, because it's like I try to take myself a little bit distant from it, because it's not necessarily always healthy. And I support everything that everybody's doing, but that's what is necessary for some people, is to just be a little bit distant from social media. And when you make social media like a barometer on how you should move, and Sasha Banks should just not move through social media that way. And also the fans, you shouldn't want to be on there either all the time. Like the fans, if you have something to say, you can ask a question. Have a conversation with another person. At the end of the day,
it's kayfabe.
You can't say that she has to do that and then bring that to stain her character. Now, whatever's going on with Zachary's personal life, hey, that's on him. Now, his image to the fan base.
But that blends in too. So take away Zachary. But the things that go on in Mercedes' personal life cause Sasha Banks not to be there. I do feel that. I do feel that the breakdown things that we're not going to get into a big thing, but social anxiety is a thing. It's a real thing. It's a paralyzing thing. It's a debilitating thing. And to force yourself to go through that because you have an obligation, no. And I think listen, niggas was leaving Wale Mania because Wale didn't return. And I don't know if Wale was having an anxiety attack. I don't know if Wale was just going to fucking Houston to go pick up the bitches and come back to Dallas. I don't know if Wale had social anxiety and was like, yo, man, like, nah, man, I need to get right. Bring me some more bottles, bring some more weed, and I'll be out there in a minute. Yeah. Because he knows how to operate. Yeah. And he came out there, glasses on, turn the lights down. I'm going to rock out, and then I'm going to go about my day. But shit, we don't know what he had to muster up.
We don't know
just to go out there in front of fucking couple hundred people.
We don't know the real, the real Wale, and that's the thing about separating the art from artistry. We only really know the art, and I think that's what I'm trying to say is you can expect that when you're in the art game. Like even with me and you, there's certain people that you will see that know the podcast that I have a real conversation with. There's certain people that know the podcast that I keep at a distance because I don't know them like that. It's a thing where you gotta protect yourself when you're in any type of entertainment game.
Now that's true.
So I want my priority is that Sasha Banks protects herself, and I think that as fans, the entitlement, we have to be conscious of that. That's the very minimum. Be conscious of the fact that these guys are playing a character on television who have real lives, and and we're not always going to be privy to that shit.
And I know I said
it's okay.
And I know I said we're going to end, and I this is just the type. Vic Stable just did a podcast, and he was like, "Why do we call it the rap game? Why do we call it the game?" And he was like, no other genre, music genre or business is considered a game. It's only considered a game because they play niggas. Everything else is considered a business. It's the music business. It's the entertainment business. It's the wrestling business. And the more we understand the business of things, the more we can take our emotions. Clayton Kershaw was on an 80 pitch count because he's coming back from surgery. He was throwing a fucking perfect game last night. 7 innings, 80 pitches. Guess what? We already made the fucking business decision. He's leaving. So the emotional attachment is already stripped away from it.
Yeah, that's true.
And as fans, we're like, man, it hasn't been a perfect game in 10 years. The last perfect game was in 2012. Let him go. If he throws the perfect game and then Clayton Kershaw is out for Tommy John surgery, then what? As an organization, as the fan of the Dodgers for the season, like, then what? You risk something for a temporary, for a moment. Sasha Banks could fucking turn that shit on to get the electricity and the adrenaline that they say you don't feel nowhere else but wrestling. Maybe that's her drug and she just didn't want to take it that day. And you got to be okay with niggas not wanting to have their dose all the time because it's not healthy to they're on the road 330 days a year. It's 365 in a year, guys.
Mental health is a real thing. You know, mental health is a real thing. So I'm never gonna say that somebody should be entitled to a point where I need to see anybody, you know, because you gotta take your time. You know, people have real fucking lives. You know, are we too entitled? I think we are sometimes. You know, I do think that fans are a little bit too entitled sometimes with the conversations you bring to my attention. I'm like, oh, that's really how people think. You know, I'm even surprised that some of the fans, you know, really are clamoring to get an answer for SummerSlam and Sasha. Like at the end of the day, at the end of the day, to me, that sparked off what we saw at WrestleMania. It was a long-term story, and they made do with what they have to make do with, and they made it. And Becky came back better than ever. She's been great. So at the end of the day, long-term story, the art is the art at the end of the day. And unless you have like a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old daughter, 4-year-old daughter who's a huge Sasha Banks fan, who is sick, and you're like, oh, we're buying this ticket, then you don't have a case to say, you know, Sasha's, you didn't know why.
Unless Sasha was at the was supposed to be at a Make-A-Wish or something, yeah, I mean, like,
you know, then you don't have a case. You know, even if you have a 4-year-old daughter who's a Sasha fan, oh well, she needs to learn. Not going to get what you fucking want. You know what you're gonna get? You fucking want in life. Shit. We came to see Sasha. You got the boss glasses, but you got Becky. She's back.
And Bianca.
You know
what I'm saying?
You know, maybe she's a Bianca fan now. Maybe she's a Becky fan now. But hey, you know, you grow up. You know, real time.
And that's it. Boom. We're gonna end just like that. And I promise, we gotta grow up. Chidi said he know what he come to wrestling for because he's a 34-year-old man. Mm-hmm. I know what I come to wrestling for because I'm a 33-year-old man. And what I come to wrestling for is for niggas not to give me anything that I don't ask for. Right? And I think growing up comes with understanding what you're asking for. We're entitled for good entertainment. And WWE made a great pivot and we were entertained. Now, we weren't entertained to the value that we thought we were going to be entertained. Becky coming back into Bianca, it was entertaining. They're in the entertainment business.
I mean, you were talking about it.
And you had to go to Monday Night Raw the next Monday because the pay-per-view was on a Saturday. You had all Sunday to talk about it, all Monday anticipating fucking Raw. It's the entertainment business.
I always say, make sure you choose your distractions. Just choose your distractions wisely, you know. And if you're going to choose wrestling, choose what your distraction in wrestling is. The conversation about Sasha Banks not being a SummerSlam, it's not, you know, worthy of having unless, like I said, you're in that scenario where, you know, there's a sick kid who really wanted to see it. Then, oh man, maybe she would have been there, you know, and you need to find out why. Other than that, we're grown. You know what you want to come wrestling for? And have a real conversation about it. I'm not saying that any conversation is not worth having.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, Sasha doesn't own shit. You know, she doesn't own a damn thing. Mercedes doesn't own shit. She doesn't own a damn thing. And thank you for your work as the boss. Because honestly, I can see how getting lost in that could take a toll.
It's method acting, bro.
Yeah.
She's Daniel Day-Lewis.
For real. F365. That's crazy, man.
Bro, she's
Even when you go to the airport, when you go to the mall, when you go to the freaking farmers freaking market.
Bro, do you know how many bonnets that bitch got to put on just so she can't be recognized? Her hair is blue. Okay? It is blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need a break. Take a break.
Nigga, Rhea, can you imagine Rhea trying to go to the grocery store when she? Nigga, I need to see Rhea. Please come to Publix. I got food stamps. I'll buy you a grocery.
Yo, shout out to Rhea and Buddy. I saw you Publix. Yo, but shout out, even Rhea and Liz. Liz had a great match with Sasha, and this past week. So that's why when you talk about Sasha, I talk about the art. I try to separate it, but I know that it's hard to sometimes, and I try to look at it for what it is, because at the end of the day, it's a business, like you say, you gotta look at it as a business as well.
Alright, man, everything is wrestling. All is love. This is the last episode of Avenger Towers 2. We made it a good one.
Made it a good one. Yeah, man. Peace out.
Sizzle me, dog.
No, I'm not saying Peace out. Who the fuck you think I am, man?
The Acclaim has arrived!
Listen!